And a good afternoon. We are back with the 2022 U.S. Rowing Youth Summer National Championships here in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, aka the Secret City. We will be starting off our afternoon with the women's youth single semifinal number one. And I am your host, Mari Scott. With the women's youth single, the top two will advance to the final. And it has gotten a little hot out here, so hopefully these athletes have been staying hydrated and their coaches have been on them about that and staying loose. There is a nice little breeze out here in Oak Ridge, but again, it is still a little hot out here, so hopefully they are drinking tons of water. And we are off with the start of the women's youth single semifinal one. In lane one, we have First Coast. In lane two, we have the Port Jefferson. Lane three, we have USR Selection Development. Lane four, Row America Y. Rye. Lane five, Y Quad Cities. Lane six, Vero Beach. And what a nice bird's eye view of the start of this race. First 20 strokes obviously have been almost equal across the board with the women's youth single. And what a strong showing with lane four. Royal America Rye looks like Erin Hanrahan is leading the pack right now, followed by lane three, which is the USR Selection Development. But everybody is within touch with each other, so obviously it is too early to tell who is going to make their statement in the first 500 of this race. It appears that lane four and three are pretty much going stroke for stroke here, maintaining contact with each other side by side. And that is one of the most nerve-wracking things when you are rowing and you can see in your peripherals each boat next to you and they are not letting go. But we will start to see here a shift as rate comes down, but ratio and rate will remain the same when it comes to power per stroke. We got nice length here. Nice, calm, cool, and collected from all of these boats here. There we go. We have a very, very, very nice shot here, and they are still. We're going stroke for stroke. We're about 3 minutes in, and they're still going stroke for each other in lanes three and four. And it's a minor correction with a lane four there. Very good, noticing that she was about to go into the buoys and made that minor correction, so later down in the road she can have a straighter shot. lot of these athletes are keeping upright, opening up those lungs. Need to get some air circulating. And we are starting to see some separation between these crews. Again, 4 and 3 are holding on to each other, and the rest of the pack is falling back just a little bit. Nice, cool, and collected. Beautiful rowing by lanes 3 and 4. And they're going tit for tat. Love it. And they are approaching the second half of this race. And they're very well in the middle part of this race here, where they need to push through the pain, push through that lactic acid buildup that's in those legs and the rest of their body. Maintaining that composure, not getting flustered by anybody that's next to them, staying in their own lane. And I love the sculler that's on the screen right now, doing an amazing job keeping her composure, not getting flustered. I mean, I haven't seen her look back many times, and she's been keeping a very straight point. That'll be lane 6 from Vero Beach, doing an awesome job with knowing where she is without having to look behind her. Because when you look behind, you can offset the boat, and that will slow you down. So the less you look, the better. So nice job to lane 6. That'll be Zadie Denise from Vero Beach. And they are now going to be approaching the loud crowd coming into the final leg of this piece. And as you can see, they're holding on contact with each other, especially those first 3 spots coming down the line. And again, as a reminder, top 2 advance to the finals. And as we approach that 500-meter mark, this is where the moves have to be made, especially if they are behind. Digging deep, again, maintaining that posture, not dropping that body at the finish, continuously swinging that back through. And we are about 100 meters away from the 250. Again, as we talked about earlier today, once those buoys change to red, that is at 250, and that is when you need to go. The red in this case does not mean stop. And we are entering into that last 200 meters of the race here. And it appears that lane 4 is in the lead right now. Lane 4 is Row America Rye, followed by lane 3 USR Selection Development. And this will be the last 150 of the race here. And she is looking strong, opening up that water, pushing away, making a statement for the semifinals. Lane 4 looks like they will be walking away with this with open water. Row America Rye, lane 4. We then have lane 3, USR Selection Development behind her. And she is just maintaining that posture to get through and to go to finals. Followed by lane 3. You have lane 2 that just went through the Port Jefferson. And then you have a lane 4, White Quad Cities. Then lane 6, Barrel Beach. Followed by lane 1, First Coast. That will finish it off this race strong. Nice.
Any problem with identification? Okay.
And I must say, real quick shout out. We want to thanks to our U.S. Senior Para and U23 boat sponsor, Philippi, for sponsoring U.S. Rowing and providing us some good hardware for racing. And now we are off with the second semifinal 2 of the women's youth single. In lane 1, we have Litchfield Hills. Lane 2, Sylvan Scullers. Lane 3, Row West Racing Camp. Lane 4, the Port Jefferson. Lane 5, South Jersey. Lane 6, South Jersey. And I like that. I'm starting to see a lot more South Jersey boats in the finals. So again, much love to the coaches over there for getting these athletes ready for this competition and performing well. Litchfield Hills is the same thing. Been seeing a lot of you guys out there. Oh, and it looks like in the lane of 2 we have Sylvan Scullers and the Rowing Blazers Wintech boat. And if many of you do know or don't know, Rowing Blazers and Wintech have put together a boat. For each boat, one of those boats sold, one boat is going to be donated to a community-oriented program. The boat is very, very fast and speedy, as I was one of the first ones to race that boat in its creation. So much love to Wintech and Rowing Blazers for doing something good for the sport and getting more athletes and more people onto the water. Tell you right now, that is racing in style. I'm sorry, is that lane 3? Excuse me, that is a lane 3. Um, that is lane 3. That is Row West Racing Camp. Or no, is that lane 4? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, definitely getting a little confused here. Okay, yes, that is lane 4. Lane 4, the Port Jefferson, and that beautiful boat. Leading a pack here is lane perfect. Yes, leading the pack is lane 4 here. Lane 4 will be the Port Jefferson, but followed right behind is lane 3. Sorry, Row West Racing Camp here, and the beautiful boat again. My bad on that mix up. But lane 4 is leading the way, and lane 3 is holding on tight. Look at that craftsmanship of that boat. Just beautiful there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's both Wintechs out there. Love it. keeping and whew, each of these ladies are definitely holding on to that drive. They are moving and holding on to each other. Very impressive. I mean, even with 5 minutes in, they're not going to let anyone get anything easy. Lane six looking pretty good. Nice crisp finishes. Looks like she's had a little correction trying to turn her boat a little bit. As you guys can see, her right arm is her right arm is definitely doing a little bit more work to get her set up for a straight shot here. But when she's on, she's equal height, equal height, equal strength. We're about 6 minutes in, and on that second half of that race here. And everybody knows the strongest part of that stroke is coming from that leg drive. The quads are the strongest muscle group in the body, and that is where that wattage comes from. So having a good leg drive, especially in the middle of the race, is very important to get through that middle with that same power but a lower rate. And they are approaching that 500-meter mark here. And we're about to hit 7 minutes.
Everything okay on the flag? Good.
And again, top two make it to the finals. So this last bit of the race is where they earn their spots. We have a lane three here. Appears to be in contention for one of those top two spots, as well as lane four.
Okay, flags going up.
Road West Racing Camp and the Port Jefferson is leading the way in this race right now.
Arrival.
And we are now entering into the 250. The first boats have passed. And there we go. And it's going to be tight racing here between lanes 3 and 4.
Okay.
Obviously, I won't be a little biased as my official outfitters include a Rowing Blazers and Wintech.
Be a little close.
But these ladies have definitely put on a show here, and they are holding on to each other. Lane 3 is holding on to 4 and not letting her go. We have bow to stern right now. Both of them obviously have secured spots in the final. Now is just making whether they want to make a statement for the finals. And we have lane 4 that have just crossed the finish line, followed by lane 3. The Port Jefferson and Road West Racing Camp. And we have lane 6 approaching the line. Lane 6. It is South Jersey, followed by lane 5, which is also South Jersey. And that leaves us with 2 that just passed the line. Sylvan Scullers and number 1, which is Litchfield Hills, that is going to finish strong. Way to go.
Any problem with identification?
congratulations to the crews that have moved on to the finals out of the women's youth single.
From what I heard, he was just checking into their well-being.
And we will be taking a commercial break here, and we will be back shortly.
Yeah, this was my first weekend rowing the new remodeled King boat, and I have to say I was really impressed.
We won?
Came out on top. It was a good race. Good race.
We've won it 5 out of the last 7 times they've had the regatta.
The stability of the boats is phenomenal.
There's a little something for everyone.
The new style looks very sleek.
I really like the coxswain seat.
Yeah, huge fan of the King boat.
I wasn't expecting to be out in front for that whole race. It's super lightweight and it just like responds so quickly.
And we are back. And to start, this will be our women's youth straight four, semifinal one. Top three will make it to the finals here. Lane one, we have Penn ACB. Lane two, Potomac. All love DC all day and bleed red. No bias there. Lane three, Penn AC. Lane four, USR Selection Development. Lane five, Ready Set Row. Lane six, USR Camp. And we are off. And now this boat is slightly different from the fours that we've seen before, where these are all straight fours. So there are no coxswain. There are no coxswains in these boats that are steering the boat here. So this definitely takes a lot of technique, strategy, and honestly just grit to be able to steer that boat. Some of these boats, probably, actually all of these boats probably will. Oh no, we have a collision on the lane 1 and 2, which will be Panacea and Potomac. Uh-oh, that is not good. And that's why I said it takes a lot of technique and skill to row in a straight four with no coxswain. There's toe steering in these boats, but they can only do but so much. Let's see if lane 1 and 2, Potomac and yes, lane 2, Potomac and Panacea can get back into it after their collision here. And it looks like Potomac is still holding on to those front boats. So good job to both boats for recovering and staying in the race. And it looks like lane 4 from this side view, first crossing the 500, will be leading, which is the USR Selection Development Camp. And must give a shout out to USR HB Camp and Lane 6, who is coached by yours truly, Kelly, who was our previous guest speaker in the morning. Much love to her and her boat. And we are approaching the 3-minute mark, with all boats still able to see each other through that first 500, holding on to each other bow to stern decks. There's a nice synchronization here, as that is what's needed, especially when you get tired. You're there now. They are now in the middle thousand of the piece. And this is when exhaustion really starts to kick in. They are passing that 1,000-meter mark, so they're going to be on their third 500 piece of the day. There's a total of 4. If you guys know your math, 500 times 4 is 2,000. That middle 1,000, those 2x500s in that middle of that can be very, very tough. But many of these athletes have shown grit through that middle 500. Sorry, that middle 1,000 here. And lane 5 is looking all right here. Head straight, following their stroke seat, dropping those legs, keeping them in this race. And lane 5 will be ready, set, row. A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful drone shot here. And you can see how a lot of boats are drifting to one side or the other and having to self-correct in order to stay straight. And I love the game faces of all these athletes. There is no sense of defeat in any of their faces. They are in the race. They are focused. When it comes to rowing, focus is a major piece, especially when it comes to these team boats and having to follow the person in front of you. Even when you're going through exhaustion, even when you're hurting, even when something else is going through your mind, you need to bring it back in and focus. And that's what rowers do best. One stroke out of sync can slow a whole boat down. Rowing is the ultimate team sport. And a nice showing with Potomac. I see those red blades with the white star. Again, no bias whatsoever, but a lot of these athletes, they have trained with the high performance group, and I've trained and raced against a lot of these ladies and men out here for Potomac. So I'm definitely rooting for you guys. But it looks like lane 4 is leading the pack, which is the USR Selection Development Camp, and it looks like they have pretty good open water here. Looks like they will come to the 250 comfortably. Obviously cannot slow it down here because anything can happen. But as long as they maintain that distance between the two boats, they will be punching their ticket to the finals. And there are 3 spots up for grabs.
Crew's approaching the finish. Start getting a final look.
And that'll be lane 5 here. Lane 5 will be
Okay, eyes on the line. Quiet
will
in
be
the
a
tower.
Ready Set Row. Ready Set Row has shown a strong showing here in the semifinals with the racing today. And it looks like they will come through with clean water. And it looks like that 3rd spot is going to go to Penn AC from Philadelphia. And PBC hopefully holds their weight. It does not allow 6 to walk on them. And that ends, or no, it does not. We have one more boat coming through here. And that will be lane 1. Which is Penn ACB. And speaking of Penn AC, we have our next special guest here. Will Scully, I'd like you to introduce yourself, sir.
Do I have to put that in?
You are now live.
I'm now live. Hey there, everyone. This is Will Scully, one of the Penn AC Gold coaches for the boys through the summer, and I'm really happy to be here.
Nice,
Thanks
nice.
for having me, guys.
Nice, and Penn AC has always had a strong showing at Summer Nationals for sure. Growing up on Bullhouse Road was always a powerhouse. Penn AC Vesper, and then I was on Undine's competitive team, so
nice.
we had the sculling, but you guys definitely had everything else. So I mean, you guys have sculling too, but for your bigger boats, you definitely you and Vesper have dominated over the years. So how would you like to speak on that part?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a fun rivalry that exists there. All the boathouses down there in Philly are so close.
Mm-hmm.
They all work so well together, but it's always good to get out there and to race them, and it's always fun, but you always want to be kind of the best club out of there. So we bring probably 70 juniors from all around the country to come to Philadelphia during the summer and row for us. So while the club is there in Philly, we have kids from all around the country, from New England down to Florida,
Nice.
kids from California, Washington. I think we have kids from Kansas this year too. So
Nice.
while it's a Philly rowing club, we have kids from all around the country.
So that speaks volume on the coaching, on the coaching staff there, and having student athletes from all around the country come to just want to row on the Schuylkill River.
Yeah, I think it speaks. I think it speaks to the history of the team. I mean, Penn AC's been around since 1871, I think. I hope I got that number right. And so there's certainly a history with that team, that kids want to come and row for that club, and kids want to row on the Schuylkill. And yeah, we've had a history of showing up here and hopefully doing well, and hopefully we can keep that trend going this weekend.
Nice. And see, home is where the heart is. So Philadelphia, like, I'll always root for Philly, the team, wherever I'm at.
Nice.
So definitely have my support there, and I'll never forget. And in 2017 when I was in the quad, the men's quad for Summer Nationals, and I got edged out by a Penn AC boat by like a second. And yeah, that was rough, but that just goes to show. I mean, Penn AC had more grit that day than we did, and I mean, as I was speaking earlier, I mean, there's probably a bunch of different things I could have did, or the other three guys in the boat could have did differently to make up for that second, but obviously that better boat was Penn AC that day. So kudos to you guys for sure.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah.
But right now we have the Women's Youth Straight 4 semifinal 2. In lane 1 we have Sarasota, lane 2 Row West Racing, lane 3 Greenwich, lane 4 Greenwich B, lane 5 Sarasota, lane 6 Greenwich C. And as I said before, when you have multiple crews from the same team in that same race, it speaks volume for that program. And they have 3 boats in this one semifinal race.
They
and
really
there's only 3
showed
spots.
up. Yeah, they really showed up. That has to be fun for lanes 3 and 4. They are racing against girls that they've been rowing with probably for maybe the whole year.
Absolutely.
And you know that B boat, whether it is actually a B boat or not, has a chip on their shoulder. They
Yep.
want to beat that A boat,
Yep.
and don't want to leave out that C boat too, because
Anything can happen.
they
any
certainly
given
want
day.
to prove something too.
Awesome. Yeah, see, it is always fun because these rowers know know each other's capabilities. They know what they can and cannot do, and I mean, they even know down to the strategy. I mean, I'm sure they've been practicing in these boats for some time now, and done pieces together. So, sometimes it's who's going to show up on race day.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's a reason why you have to race every race. You know, the crew that wins the time trial isn't necessarily going to be the crew that makes it out of the semifinals. And you know, you got to show up every day. You got to race every race, and you know, no spot in the final is earned on a Friday.
Yep, absolutely.
Friday is just one step along the way, but the spots in the final are earned here.
No, you're so right.
Right now, it looks like the 2 Greenwich boats are doing a good job.
Yeah, it looks
Hopefully
pretty
enough to
close. They're
earn that.
coming in, or they're past the 500 now. Approaching that 250 mark here, and by the angle, it's kind of hard to tell who is in front. But I want to say it is lane. Is that lane 3 or 4?
It looks like lane 3 to me.
Lane 3 is
But
that
once
lane 3
again,
leading
that
the way.
goes back to this battle between Greenwich A and Greenwich B. I'm sure they're having some fun out there.
Definitely bragging rights. 'Cause I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. I think is that in Connecticut?
It is, yeah.
That connects
yeah,
up.
It is in Connecticut, yeah.
That'll be a long airplane ride or drive back
Yeah.
for those athletes.
It is.
who were beaten by their teammates. All right, here. So it looks like lane 3 is leading the way right here, and lane 3 is Greenwich, and we are followed by the other Greenwich boat, which is lane 4, Greenwich B. And there's not much difference between the two crews.
No.
That bow is almost touching that stern. The first boats will be crossing a line here.
This is top 3 advance. So
Top 3 advance. So it looks like
two.
Greenwich will have 2 boats at least coming to the finals.
Well done, Greenwich. Followed by, is that Row West out there in lane 2?
In lane 2, yes. So we will have a Row West Racing securing that 3rd and final spot in the women's youth straight 4. But now we are here for that placement in the country. Lane 5 has crossed the line. Lane 5 is Sarasota. Lane 6 will follow, which is Greenwich C, followed by lane 1, which is Sarasota B.
All right. Well done.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And this is like when you see these boats getting locked in, it's like the most nerve-wracking thing ever. Like as a racer, and like speaking of that, have you raced? Like what's your rowing background?
Yeah, so I did my rowing. I did my rowing in college at Trinity College.
Okay. Yep.
Go Bantams. And when I graduated from Trinity, I rowed for summer actually at Tennessee.
Nice.
We actually raced at nationals here back in 2014 it was. So
Okay.
and I've been in the sport ever since. So ever since 2007 or 8 when I first picked up an oar.
Nice.
But yeah, that feeling of sitting there at the starting blocks. I have to say it's bad as a rower. As a coach, when you sit and you see your boat sitting at the starting line, it's almost worse. Because you're sitting there and you feel the nerves because you know the nerves that they're feeling, but you have no control over whatever's gonna happen.
I mean, that's that athlete to coach connection. I mean, I feel like some of the best athletes out there has that coach that they're very connected to, and I mean it's just a natural relationship and a natural just a natural thing, and obviously success goes hand in hand when it comes to the rower as well as the coach, because the coach does well or the rower does well, the coach does well, and vice versa. I mean,
sure.
you can't have one without the other.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So right now we have the men's U17 single semifinal 1, top 2 to the final. In lane 1 we have V-Skulls. Lane 2, Tony Madigan, which is from Potomac. Special shout out to him as another athlete that I have pieced against. Lane 3 we have Lake Leelanau. Hopefully I said that right. Lane 4 we have Miami. Lane 5 South Eugene, and lane 6 Sarasota.
So I'm just quick looking up where Lake Leelanau is. It looks like Lake Leelanau is in Michigan.
Ah,
So all the way from Michigan. That's quite a drive.
that is. And that's the thing. A lot of these athletes come from all over. I don't think any of them come to just give half the effort. All of these athletes we have seen have been given full effort. And that's what I love about this sport. There's no way you can slack off, honestly.
Nope. Cool. Yeah, if you take a day off or take a stroke off, or maybe don't go full bore on your time trial race, there's a pretty good chance you don't race the next day. So
Right.
it'd be a shame to come all the way from where you are, to not give everything on your first 2 days.
Right.
Everyone wants to make it to that last day, and
I'm
everyone
sure
here has done a really nice job, even just to make it to today.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it the effort that that goes into these races, especially in the summertime. I mean, a lot of these student athletes are giving up, going on vacations, giving up, going to I don't know, go wherever, having fun with their friends
Yeah.
on the COVID Sag or City Street or wherever they're from to be here with their team. Whether it's single sculls or whether it's an eight, they show up to do better and to make their teammates better, and the results are showing today as all of that has led up to this. And right now it looks like in lane 4 we have lane 4 leading the way. Lane 4 is from Miami, and then followed by lane 3, which is from Lake Leelanau, which has been looked up from Michigan. And then lane 2 we have Potomac holding right on. And it looks like Potomac may be making a move here to walk on lane 3.
And just a reminder, this one's just top two advance. So, fighting for that top 2 spot is going to be huge here. So we can expect those two guys. And can't really see lanes 5 and 6 right now, or 4, 5, 6. But sorry, I 1, 5, 6.
But I mean, it's 2 spots, and it looks like to be 3 at least from what we're looking at right now in contention for those only 2 spots.
You certainly want to be in the spot where lane 4 is in, where you kind of can see the field and you can control your race from that point. And that rower in lane 4 can do a really nice job and just hold his course and take this spot. But those guys in lane 3 and 2 are really going to have to work for this.
And much love again to lane 2, Tony Madigan of Potomac, son of Matt Madigan, who has had his fair share of coaching national team athletes, as well as helping out with the high performance team at Potomac Boat Club. Yeah, I believe he also coaches Georgetown, if I am not mistaken, as well. And they just came from Henley not too long ago.
Oh, nice.
And we are approaching that 500 meters to go here.
So these guys have now been at it for about 6.5 minutes. What are these guys feeling right now?
Man, it's that burn, like just straight burn. That burn in those quads, almost that punch in your chest as you're trying to breathe and get oxygen inside, circulating through your body.
Yeah. Tell you what, those dudes are looking around for just the red buoys. At this point in the race, you're just every stroke, you just want to see the red buoy. You want to see the red buoy.
But once you see the red buoy, it's not time to stop. It's time to go.
It's time to go. Looks like lane 4 is just.
Man, they're going to be duking this out for the last 250. And ladies and gentlemen, this is when I say the spots are earned in this last 250. This is going to be one of those races where that last piece of the race is going to be determined on who can push through the pain the longest here. And it looks like Potomac is picking up right here. What a sprint, walking through both. Wow, this is what I'm talking. This is racing right here. They are going stroke for stroke. There are only 2 spots left. There are 2 spots left here. 3 boats. Lane
be a photo finish
2 looks like
3.
Potomac is going to try to hold on here.
Looks like
Lane 3 and 4 are not giving up either.
4, 3, 2.
Wow. And that is
what
what racing is
push.
all about here.
That's what you love to see.
Wow. And
you
both those athletes are exhausted. I mean, you can tell they're just done, feet out.
Everyone just wants to be a part of a race like that,
Right.
just to take it stroke for stroke with someone else. You know, you always hate to kind of come up on the losing end of that. I've certainly been on the losing end of those races, but it's also fun to just be a part of that.
Right, and to let it be known here, these athletes, this is the semifinals. It was not the first race. There was time trials they still had to get through, and I believe what top 18 made it.
Yep.
So these are your top boats in the country right now for summer racing, and so this is, even being here during the semifinals is not an easy feat. So kudos to every single last athlete that have come down during the semifinals event. And we are now underway with the men's U17 single semifinal 2, where again, same race, top 2 will make it to the final. In lane 1, we have Atomic Rowing. Lane 2, Maritime. Lane 3, Manhasset High School. Lane 4, Row America Rye. Lane 5, V-Schools. Lane 6, Oakland Strokes.
And I just have to say, I love that the last name of lane 3, Connor Stone King.
Love that. That is a
awesome
very
last
awesome,
name.
like, and then in lane 3 as well. So he obviously has some speed behind him in the or had some speed behind him in the time trial here to get him placed into that lane. But again, Row America Rye having a strong showing. Oakland Strokes, I am starting to see more of you guys in these semifinals. Maritime, same thing.
There's a lot of teams where you see their name a lot, and those teams, yeah. Maritime, Oakland Strokes,
Yep.
Row America Rye. You see those names a lot, especially in these semifinals.
Yep. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And it looks like lane 5 may be in the lead here. Lane 5 will be V-Skulls. We are about three and a half minutes down here. Lane 5 and lane 4 are going neck and neck with each other right now. And they will be entering that middle 1,000 where the grit has to be strong, has to survive.
It is always nice seeing a boat from lane 5 make it out there. You know.
Oh, absolutely.
They put the fastest boats in lanes 4 and 3, and then they work their way out. So, seeing a boat from lane 5 pushing up, you know, based off their time from the previous day, that's not a place where they were expected to be.
Absolutely.
And everyone loves an underdog.
Right. Underdog stories are the best stories, and we were talking about that earlier today. When I see just a totally random out, like it just a sculler that you have not heard of, they come up and put people on notice. Like they're like, I'm here and I'm here to stay, and if you think that you're gonna get this spot, you're gonna have to walk it through me first.
Exactly.
And I love that grit that is given. I mean, I feel like we were all there because obviously, when you start out rowing, you gotta pretty much make a name for yourself. And you start off. Everybody has started off has some type of underdog story. And we're approaching that second half of the race here on that third 500.
We have to give a lot of credit to these athletes. These are all U17s, which means at most these athletes are 16 years old. When I was 16, I never even touched an oar. And these are kids who are racing in the nationals in a
A single. Right.
which is a tough boat to race. You can't hide in that boat.
Absolutely.
Can't hide.
And we're also not taught. We're not. We're talking in racing singles at that. These are singles that are used at the elite level. And you're seeing Impakers, racing Wintex, and I mean you're seeing Philippi's out there. Like I mean these are very very extremely hard boats to set.
Oh, you got a
Oh. Oh my. Yikes.
boat going right across the course there.
For everybody that's looking at that, that probably was not supposed to happen. But yeah, so we will
Fortunate
continue
that
with
no
this.
one was hurt there.
No. Yeah, that's definitely not good. But again, kudos to these single sculler athletes who are maintaining their composure. Ay ay ay. And they are approaching the 250. Again, red means go, does not mean stop.
Red means go. Here we go. Is this lane 4 out in front with a pretty big lead
comfortable
here. Pretty comfortable.
And that lane 4 will be
Romerica Rye. And lane 4 has to be thinking that he has another race that he has to row tomorrow.
Now see,
So
at this point, a statement has already been made here
Yeah.
for lane 4. So even if he did drop rate and just continue to push the legs, that is a-okay.
You
But
know,
now we have one more spot up for grabs here. And what is that? Lane 5 here, which is an underdog in this race. Lane 5 is V-Skulls.
in the bright orange hat.
Reed Eddie.
Can't miss him.
Cannot miss him.
And we will be
Way to
seeing
go,
that
man.
orange hat again in the finals
We
tomorrow.
Way to go. And now the rest of these boats is now finishing for placement. And when we have Romerica Rye, second we have a V-Skulls, third Manhasset High School, coming in fourth Oakland Strokes, fifth Maritime, and then sixth
Identification okay for everybody?
Atomic Rowing.
So you know, different rowers and different coaches will handle that end of that race very differently.
Mhm.
It looked like Cole from Romerica Rye decided to not sprint. He kind of just held his rate
Yep.
and made sure he got it home. There are some coaches that will ask their athletes to row the full race, even if they are up by a length or two or three. What are your thoughts on that? Of do you row the full race every time, or are there times where it's okay to shut it down and save the energy for the next race?
And see, we were just literally, me and John Oberst was just talking about that earlier.
I love that guy.
Yeah, oh, he's the man. One of my teammates at the with the high performance team at Potomac Boat Club. But we were talking about you come, and he said it. I loved his analogy. He said you come with a box of matches, and each of these races you are using those matches. So when you're ahead like that, do you use another match to just make a point? Do you conserve that match for that next race? I mean, I feel like it just all depends on placement, and all about also knowing your body. Because honestly, if you're physically exhausting yourself each time, do you think you can do that again for the finals? And you don't want to go to finals and you sprint it when you were well over 10 seconds in front, and you sprint it just to make a point, but then in the finals you're completely exhausted.
Yeah. It's always a tough thing as a coach too. We I don't even like talking about it because it makes the kids think that they will be in first, and to even talk about the idea of shutting it down means you have assumed that you will be up there, and
Right.
you gotta earn
Earn
that
that.
first.
Absolutely.
You've got to
No,
earn that first.
you were
So
absolutely right. Absolutely right. And this is the men's U17 again, single skull semifinal 3. This will be the last of this, the men's U17 single, where the top 2 will make it to the finals. In lane 1, we have Maritime. Lane 2, Long Island. Lane 3, Sammamish Association. Lane 4, USR Selection Development. Lane 5, Miami. Lane 6, Miami. So obviously we have a pretty strong showing of Miami crews
representing,
here,
yeah.
as well as Maritime. Right now we have a pretty nice bird's eye view, pretty decent courses from each of these single scullers right now. So lane 3, it looks like, is out front. Lane 5, followed by lane 4, and we are crossing over the 1,000-meter mark, as you guys can see in that background.
lane 3, that's Paul Rabel. Hope I pronounced that right. From Sammamish, and we were talking about teams that came from a far distance. Sammamish out in Seattle, Washington.
Love it. Love it.
I wouldn't want to be the coach driving all those boats over here. But someone's got to do it.
Love it. Seattle is such a nice place to row at. I must say, I went over there for the Windermere Cup,
Nice.
and it was such a beautiful course. I rode out of Seattle Scullers. Shout out to Coach Matt, who's doing some great things over in Seattle. But Lake Union is awesome. Montlake Cut. I mean, shout out to one of my best friends who coaches the University of Washington, Marcus Brown. And all of those dogs over there that are doing amazing things.
Yeah, that's actually a place I've never been. Not just have I never rode there. I've never even been to the city. So
It is beautiful. You definitely have to put that on your list.
It is on my list of places that I need to go see.
Absolutely.
And maybe when I get out there, I'll try to find my way into a boat.
Absolutely. No, it's really nice over there. So we are approaching that 500-meter mark. As you can see in the background, that 1,500-meter marker. And this is where a lot of that exhaustion, you're feeling all of that buildup. And you can tell by a lot of these athletes' faces here that they're just trying to push to the end and gain one of those 2 spots. Looks like we have 4 and 5 in contention, as well as lane 3 for those 2 spots to the finals.
Well, once again, this is a fun race to watch. You see 3 guys fighting out for 2 spots. You know, only 2 get to go on to race, and 1 has to put their boat back on the trailer. So, no one wants to be that guy.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But again, definitely a sense of accomplishment for, being in the semifinals, because there is a lot. I mean, there are some events that had well over 40 crews entered in, and you have 18 crews that have moved on. They are definitely in that upper percentile of single scullers this country has to offer based off of U.S. Summer Nationals 2022.
Absolutely. I take my hat off to all these athletes here. They're certainly doing what I'm not able to do. So.
Right. What I try to do.
Now it's looking like 3 and 4 have maybe a slight advantage over 5. But
yeah, that is correct. 3 and 4 looks like they're gunning for those 2 spots. That is USR Selection in Sammamish. Now I'm curious to see if USR tries to walk on this boat, but it just looks like they are just trying to maintain. Oh no, he is bringing up the rate here.
Yeah.
Lane 4 is bringing up the rate
He
onto lane 3.
he knows he has that spot, but he still wants first,
Yeah,
and that's awesome to see.
nice.
Fighting all the way to the
Way to
line.
fight it all the way to the line, which allowed him to open up between lane 5. Nice. And that will be your 2 spots going to some Amish Association and USR Selection Development. And followed by lane 1 from Maritime. And lane 2 Long Island. And then we have lane 6 Miami. And we have going off the women's U17 double semifinal 1, where the top 2 will make it to the final. Lane 1, we have Maritime. Again, lane 2, Maritime. Lane 3, Port Jefferson. Lane 4, Oak Neck Academy. Lane 5, Miami. Lane 6, First Coast. Again, you're seeing a repeat of all of these programs making it to the semifinals. A nice, beautiful boat. Lane 5. Love the blue. It looks like lane 4 is taking an early lead here, followed by lane 3. And again, a lot of responsibility for those non-rowers that are watching. Sculling is a very, very, very special part of rowing, where there are no coxswains that are steering the boat. That responsibility of steering and motivating is on the bow seats of these boats, which is the person in the back that is going to cross the line first. They need to keep the boat straight and keep their points down the course while also maintaining that speed. And also, again, following their stroke seat. So bow seat has a lot of responsibility. Again, it looks like 4 is leading the way here. Love that body swing. They are swinging together, moving that boat. Blade entry looks amazing. And you want to see that backsplash, that little V splash, because that means that the boat is locked into the water, and as soon as you get that lock, you jump on the drive with those legs. That early anticipation will help that immensely. lane 5 is pushing through. I can tell in their faces. But they want to make sure they breathe, keeping their lungs open. Again, this is one of those sports. I mean, you look at these athletes' faces. I mean, you can look at majority of other sports, and you will never see those facial expressions that you'll see in rowing here. And that is what you call true grit.
Next break, event number is 5959, 20S1.
And they are going to be well under in their middle 1,000 piece here, approaching that third 500. Actually, sorry, no, they will be at the end of their last at the end of the third 500, approaching that last 500 of the race. You're seeing a lot, some push. You see in their faces that they are really trying to push through, and they are slowly but surely coming to the 250 mark. Very decent technique from these crews, composed, not frantic, making it look easy. And the thing about these smaller boats, they're not as fast as the bigger boats that you've seen when it comes to the 8s and the 4s. But with these smaller boats, the technique is paramount to your success in these boats. And they are approaching that 250 mark here. And lane 4, it looks like lane 4 will be leading the way in this. Lane 4 is Oak Neck Academy, who has shown a strong showing here at Youth Summer Nationals. And it looks like they will have open water coming through here, maintaining very good posture here, rowing together. That is good rowing right there. As y'all can see, that V splash, that backsplash coming off of the back of their blade. That is them locking in and kicking away. So you will have lane 4 coming through first, Oak Neck Academy. And then you will have a lane 3 that looks like they will secure that second spot here. Lane 3 will be the Port Jefferson. And now we're going for placement, which lane 5 of Miami coming in third. 2 Maritime, 6 First Coast.
Any problem with identification?
So fourth we have First Coast, sorry. So first place Oak Neck, second place the Port Jefferson, third Miami, fourth Maritime. Fifth we have First Coast, and sixth we have a Maritime. We're now underway with the women's U17 double sculls semifinal 2. Top 2 again will make it to the final, same event. Lane 1 you have North Carolina. Lane 2 you have Row America Rye. Lane 3 Utah. Lane 4 Oakland Strokes. Lane 5 Gordon. Lane 6 Row America Rye. Got some inner squad competition here in both lane 2 and lane 6 with Row America Rye here, so they know their capabilities. So this will be an interesting race to watch. And it looks like lane 4 is trailblazing through here. Lane 4 is Oakland Strokes. They are opening up the field. Wow, what a margin in the first part of this race here. They have opened up the field by quite a bit of open water here. And followed by lane 5, which appears to be in second based off what we are looking at. In lane 5, we have Gordon. Love it. And you see the way those oars for lane 4. You see once they switch back to that aerial view, you can see how lane 4 are rowing together, and that body swing is a very, very, very in sync with each other. And right now, lane 4 again is moving on through, and they appear, I mean, for them, I mean, they're making this look painless. I mean, I know they're feeling it, but they're just making it look effortless. Going in together, going out together. I mean, this is very, 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 very nice rowing from by Oakland Strokes here. Swinging together. Crisp, crispy, crispy, crispy finishes. And lane 6 here with the quick hands. Loving that. Staying in this race. And lane 6 would be Row America Rye. And we are well on to the second half of the race, the last 1,000 meters. Oof. Lane 5 is pushing through. Lane 6 follow right behind them, as well as the lane 3, Utah. There is no giving up here. And we will be approaching that last 500 meters very, very shortly. And you start to hear that crowd cheering. That's a little boost of morale going into that last 500 and building up and setting that base to go into the sprint. It's kind of hard to tell by these angles right here, but I think it'll be safe to say that lane 4 Oakland Strokes will be still leading the pack. Keeping that tempo right and together. Being light with the hands, not forcing that blade into the water and letting gravity do its work. And they are now entering into the 250, the last 250 of this race in the sprint.
Okay, flag is up.
Open water by lane 4, Oakland Strokes. Wow. Wow. They have made a statement. I will say Oakland Strokes has made a statement in the semifinals.
Okay, take the last look. And eyes on the line, please. Quiet in the tower.
And there we go. Lane 4 will cross that line first. We have lane 5 going for that second spot with lane 3 trying to hold on, but it looks like lane 5 will take that, and that will be Gordon. Followed by lane 3 of Utah. And this is all now for placement. 2 has now crossed the line, Royal America Rye.
One more up high.
6 has crossed Royal America Rye. And lane 1, North Carolina.
Any problem with identification? Okay.
What a race. We are now on to the women's U17 double semifinal 3, where the last 2 spots will be earned in this race. Lane 1, we have Resilient. Lane 2, we have Utah. Lane 3, we have Narragansett. Lane 4, Litchfield Hills. Lane 5, Vero Beach. And lane 6, Penn AC.
8, 1, 3, 1, 5. 8, 1, 3, 1, 5.
Nice little aerial view here, and it appears to be lane 4 in the lead right now. Lane 4, which will be at Litchfield Hills. And they are also commanding their lead here. Followed by lane 3, which is a Narragansett. As I was saying earlier, commanding that start in the beginning. Stay in the get in the front and stay in front. And both these crews from the last 2 races have done so. That have come in first place. Lane 6, we have Penn AC hailing from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Boathouse Row. They are maintaining contact with lane 5, which is Vero Beach. But again, lane 4 commanding their lead. And I'm loving the body angle from lane 6, Penn AC, swinging that back together, getting that body angle over,
Next event, number 61, 6-1.
shifting at the hip.
5, S3.J.
I am still working on that body posture. But lane 6, Penn AC look like they are doing very well with that. Lane 4, again, still in the lead. But I will say lane 3 is not too far behind. And this can always be anyone's race here.
Face okay?
just love the way the bow just picks up, as you guys can see on that bow ball of lane 6, how the boat shifts up. And it's a very the technique just has to be on point, because as you're shifting that momentum to the front, you slow down the boat. But being light on your feet and being very reactive to once that oar is locked in, you will not slow down as much. And see, one of the good things about rowing as well is the blade work, just the artwork on the blades. It's very easy to tell a lot of these crews just based off of their blades, especially from that aerial view. All the way down to the unis. Rowing is a very artistic sport. And even though we are going through the grit, grind, blood, sweat, and tears, we make it look pretty. And that's what it is all about. One of the most mental, tough people in the world are rowers. And we're about to be 6 minutes into our race here. And we're approaching that last 500. And this last 500 is where these spots are made, where the spots are earned for that final. And it looks like lane 4 is continuing to hold on to their lead here, followed by lane 3 right behind. And as you can see on your screen, that those buoys are turning to red, which means, you're right, time to sprint. Well, it looks like we have some geese in the way of the course. Hopefully they stop, and hopefully they are enjoying the show here. Love how they stopped and crossed. You could tell they did this before. So lane 4 and lane 3 appear to be taking the 1 and 2 spot for the last 2 spots in the final of the women's U17 double.
Okay, take the last peek. Eyes on the line. Quiet in the tower, please.
And a commanding lead by lane 4 throughout the whole race. That'll be Litchfield Hills. There you go. And then you have lane 3 coming in behind them, which will be Narragansett. And now we are here for placement at this point. And lane 5 is going, Vero Beach is going for that third spot finish here, followed by lane 2. Penny C followed behind them, and then to lane 1 Resilient.
Any problem with identification? Nope. Okay.
And perfect. And now we have another special guest here. I will be introducing shortly. And we are live here with Mr. Jim Rogers of the Oak Ridge Rowing Association.
Hey
Nice
Maurice,
to meet
how are
you,
you?
Jim.
Yeah,
Doing
good
well,
to see you.
doing well. So I guess you're helping run the show here, huh?
Yeah, so I've been down here for about 8 years, very involved in this club. I had a child who rode here. I was a master's myself, and I've been in part of the board now for, gosh, quite a while.
Nice.
We look forward to running these big events.
Mhm.
I'm down here helping this weekend. This is going great. We love having US Rowing in town, and it looks like everybody's having a good time.
Oh
So,
yeah, I must say, Oak Ridge is definitely one of my favorite courses. I raced it, Masters Nationals last year
Yeah,
when I was
yeah.
out here.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Besides the fog was kind of crazy, but once the fog like lifted,
Yeah.
it was perfect.
Sure.
I loved it.
Yeah,
Loved
I'm
it.
glad I wasn't in your events. I was in those little older events, right?
Ah.
So I was racing in E mostly, but that's okay. So
Stop it. You look like you should be in the single A and double A events.
no way, man. That was a long time ago.
But no, this is awesome. Such a beautiful course, such a beautiful backdrop. I mean, as you can see with this racing, I mean, everybody is getting a very, very nice shot. All the angles are pristine here.
It's the weather's a little warm, but it's been kind to us. The wind is doing. The wind's really laying down. We've had kind of 2 to 3 knots all day, because I've kind of joked that, ooh, it's gusting to 3, y'all. So the conditions on the water are great. The ref and the drivers are doing a great job of keeping everything under control from a wake perspective. So it's good to see these kids, right? I mean, these guys are knocking this out, and they've got just fantastic water. So love to see it.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking before. I mean, all of these athletes have been putting in a lot of work over the summertime.
Yep.
And the race that's coming down now is the men's youth double semifinal 1, where again top 2 make the final. So it'll be a dogfight to the finished. Lane 1, we will have Resilient. Lane 2, Oak Neck Academy. Lane 3, Artemis. Lane 4, Miami. Lane 5, Sylvan Scullers. And lane 6, we have USR Selection Development. And it looks like lane 4 will be leading. Yeah, lane 4 will be leading the pack, Miami. Such a beautiful boat. It's something about that blue.
Well,
it's like,
yeah, it is, and I'm just watching the stroke. It's really nice and long. I love the long, the long stroke, and the finish is really nice and crisp. So it's great to see these young athletes. I mean, they're really good. It's just fun to watch them. So
it is, and I mean, the composure. Like, I mean, there's been times in other sports where people start to lose their mind and lose their composure. You can tell by their actions, whatever their sport may be, and screwing up with basketball, baseball, football, hockey, like start to kind of get a little shaky.
Oh, yeah.
Even at the professional level. But I can say that it is rare, extremely rare, that I will see a rower lose their composure at the end, especially as they're moving on from the high school level into the college. I mean, you got a straight face from start to finish. I mean, you can tell that they're exhausted, but they're still going to go. They're not going to stop.
yeah, it's great, right? Because I mean, you and I both row, so we know what it's like, right? At 500 to go, you know exactly how many strokes are left, and you literally you just figure out how you can just put all of it together so that you literally don't have anything left in that last stroke.
Right.
And it's just an awesome sport for that, to learn a lot about yourself. And these kids at this young age, they're doing a great job, right? And one of the things I really like is how rowing develops these youth, right? I've seen a ton of kids come through here, and the success that we see from these young athletes, it's just great to see them go off, and they're just doing great things, whether it's in college or or doing something else. Rowing just seems to be critical to their young development. So I love to see that.
And both on and off the water, I
Yeah,
must say.
exactly.
Like, I mean, it goes into the classroom, and as a high school rower turned college, turn high performance, like, it's just one of those things where it reflect, like, your work ethic and during rowing, it reflects onto the outside life, where whatever you're doing, whether you're in school, whether you're in the professional world, like it reflects there. And again, a lot of I feel like I will put any amount of money on any of these athletes to do extremely well on the outside, because they know what it takes to be disciplined, they know what it takes to be focused.
Yeah. Well, and they're happy because they just saw that first red buoy,
Oh,
right?
they are.
So they're
They
like,
are.
oh, dude,
So
man,
like,
you got
okay,
25
let's
strokes.
go.
Let's go. Yep.
Let's go. And it looks like lane 4 will be leading the way. It's kind of an angle. You have lane 3 right next to them. That is actually kind of hard to tell who is in front. And we are looking right now, and obviously here we have 1 and 2 pretty much secured, and we'll be moving on to the finals. Lane 3 and 4, that will be Artemis and Miami.
Yeah, and look at them. They're laying down some pretty fast strokes there
They
at
are.
the end, right? So the rate.
They're like, you're not going to pass us.
Yeah, that's right. The rate
that.
definitely came up in the last 10 strokes. So
Love that.
Yep.
Love that. Way to go, guys. Way to go. But now we have replacement here, and this is not the time to give up because this is where you set your standard for next year. That is lane 5.
Apply.
So we have Miami in 1, Artemis coming in 2nd, Sylvan Scullers in 3rd, a USR Selection Development coming in 4th, Oak Neck Academy coming in 5th.
Any problem with identification? No? Okay.
And you have Resilient coming in 6th.
some pretty decent times, right? I'm looking forward to tomorrow,
Yes,
right? The finals is going to be a lot of fun. We're kind of zero current today. They got a little bit of a headwind.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very light though. Kids look like they're handling it really well. So
That's good.
it'll be fun to see the finals tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I mean that's where the medals are earned. And, you know, that's where you empty the tank.
Yep.
And we are now off with the men's youth double semifinal 2. Again, where the top 2 will make it to the final. In lane 1, we have a Row America Rye. Lane 2, Miami. Lane 3, Oakland Strokes. Lane 4, Oak Neck Academy. Lane 5, Long Island. Lane 6, Vero Beach. And again, we are seeing a repeat of multiple teams here. Miami, Florida teams, Oakland Strokes, Miami, Row America Rye. All of these teams have been in the semifinals quite a bit in the multiple events here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see teams all the way from Sammamish up in the Redmond area, all the way down through the California teams in Utah. You know, it's good. I love to see that. You know, this really is a national championship. These kids are from all over. They've had this on the calendar circled for a while. So I like to see that they've all come together to see who's fastest this weekend. Right. So good stuff.
And it looks like in the first 250 meters here, it looks like this can be any man's game here. We have lanes 6 through 2 all connected. They're all connected bow to stern here. But once we cross over to that 500 and settle into that middle 1,000 piece here, we will start to see some separation, or maybe not. But you will see a shift in race, or in rate, excuse me, by all crews.
You guys get that? It's race number 67, 67, lane 2. Miami has no bow number. Apparently they've got something that says T0.
And you see in that leg drive here. And for those who don't know rowing, the stroke initiates once you're at that catch, goes from the legs to that core, to that body swing, to the arms. That is the sequence of the stroke.
62 clear? Yes.
And see, the one thing special about the double, it is not the single skull, so you can get a little bit more rate out of a double skull here because you have a bit more power. And they are crossing over the 1,000, and we have a pretty close race here between the crews. There's no one out of there's no one out of contention of those first and second spots. There is not clear open water, as anything can happen in the last 1,000 meters. See it, and isn't it great when it's, I mean, not inside the boat, when you're next to,
Oh yeah,
when
yeah.
you're next to it, but when you're watching it, you're like, yes, they're next to each other all the way to the finish, and they just going after it.
Well, even being in that boat, you know how it is. You can hear the oarlocks of the people next to you, and it's like you don't dare look.
No.
Right? You gotta stay focused and stay in yourself. You know, you know that they're right there, but you cannot take the slightest little break.
No, no, you can't. And I spoke about this earlier, and that's a very good point you had. I mean, looking out the boat, you'll offset that boat, and
Yeah.
that could be that one determining stroke that is between that second place and that third place.
That's right. Yeah, these races can sometimes. I mean, I've seen I've seen single bow ball races quite often down here, and and it's amazing how little tolerance there is. The slightest little bobble
Absolutely.
is that's it, and you're out or you're down a place.
Yeah.
So,
No, you are absolutely right on that. We have lane 4 right here leading the way here, and lane 5 behind, as you can see on your screens. And again, for these bowmen, it is their job to maintain that direction, maintain that motivation in the boat, maintain that visual of where the boats are, being aware. Your awareness needs to be 1,000% as you are steering these boats that are moving at pretty decent speeds here. From the singles all the way up to the eights. Or no, sorry, all the way up to the quads. And as they are crossing over into that last 500 and hearing the cheers, we are back now approaching the last 250 of the race, where there are only two spots available for the final.
Okay, flag is up.
And what it looks like, lane 3 and lane 4 are going to be with each other coming through.
6 on the way.
And this is the sprint here. Now, will we see lane 3 just settle in to take that number 2 spot, or do you think they're going to make a statement? To me, it looks like they're starting to walk through. But lane 4 is lane 4 looks like they have started to pick up their stroke rate.
they sure
They're
have.
like, yeah, nah, you're not about to take this from us, and they are opening up that lead.
Eyes on the line.
And that is how you assert your dominance in these races here. Well done, lane 4. And then followed by lane 3. That will be Oak Neck Academy and Oakland Strokes, who will be moving on to the finals of the men's youth double. And that'll be followed by 5, Long Island. Lane 2 comes right after Miami.
High.
Lane 6 follows Barrow Beach. And you will have lane 1 coming through. Bro America Ride.
Okay.
See, I love how Oak Neck Academy saw that move and was like, yeah, nah,
Yeah.
you're not yet. No, we're not about to let you just do that.
Yeah, it was a nice move, and in Oakland Strokes had a really nice start, right? So it looked like they actually had a little bow ball in front of them in the first 250, So settled into a pretty tough race, right? So those guys will both see each other again in the final. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
That will be. That will be. And now we are on to the men's youth double semifinal 3, the last semifinal of that event, the men's youth double, where the top two, the last two spots are up for grabs for the final. Lane 1, we have USR HP Camp. Lane 2, Artemis. Lane 3, Miami. Lane 4, V-Skulls Composite. Lane 5, Potomac Bleed Red. And Lane 6, Oak Neck Academy.
Ryo, we are going all out. This is it.
And we are off again for the last of the men's youth double. With a nice aerial shot here. It looks like Lane 4 is leading the pack. V-Skulls Composite. Followed by Lane 5, which will be Potomac.
Okay, Trace?
Oh, actually, sorry. That will be Lane 3 leading the pack. Followed by Lane 4. And we have some order opening up in between the crews right now.
Gentlemen, keep the yellow buoy.
There we go. Love the unis. Very decorative, I must say. That neon blue and green with, I guess that's the white and pink or purple. Liking it.
Yeah, that one's still pretty snug, right? About a half a boat length, right? So 3, 4.
They're definitely holding on to each other.
Yep. Well, it's good motivation too, right?
For sure.
So I mean, you love that, right?
Yeah.
Right. You're thinking, oh man, I'm dying here, and then, but those guys are right next to you. You can't, you can't let up. You
Yep.
cannot. You got to keep pressing. So.
No, you're absolutely right. It looks like they'll be coming into that second half of that race, of this race shortly. In that third 500. Again, love the composure of lane 4 here, approaching that 1,500 meter mark, as you can see in the background. Making it look too easy. Lane 4, which would be Oak Neck, or sorry, no, V-Skulls Composite.
It's pretty fun. Did you see him sneak a peek, right? The stroke in 3, right? So
Oh, yep, exactly.
yeah, it's like, sneaking
Yeah.
a peek, dude.
That's like one of those things that's extremely tempting,
Yeah.
but again, it can slow down your boat in the long run. Leave that up. That's where you got to trust your bowman to know that he or she is going to do what they're supposed to get you across that line without hitting the buoy and with the most motivation possible.
Event number. Event number 64.
And as you can see, yet again, those buoys are turning red. It is sprint season.
5 boats? Yes. Who's missing? What lane? 6.
Scratch. Wow, we made it to the semis in the scratch.
The actual story is more complicated than that.
Well, that's it.
It's okay.
And we have 3 and 4
Okay, 5 boats on the way.
coming up to secure the 2 spots in the men's youth double final. The final 2 spots.
Okay, flag is in the air. Take a peek.
And there we go. And this is going to be is going to be side by side racing here with lane 3 and lane 4. Is one going to give one to the other, or are they going to sprint to the finish? And it looks like both are picking up. Oh, they are both picking up, and they are all both fighting for that finish line. And this may be a photo finish here for number 1 and number 2 spots. Love it, love it, love it. And that is what racing is all about. Crews are not going to settle for getting second place here. Beautifully done, V-Skulls in Miami. Very, very small margins.
Yeah, it looked to me like the lane 3 guys took off just 3 or 4 strokes earlier and popped the rate up just a few early, and that ended up being the margin. So really good stuff.
Beautifully done, beautifully done. And third, you have USRHB Camp, 4th Oak Neck Academy. Lane of 5, Artemis. That was beautifully done by the men's youth double semifinal 3. We are now underway with the big boats. The men's youth 8 semifinal 1. This will be lane 1 with Whitman, lane 2 USRHP Camp, lane 3 Penny CB, lane 4 USR Selection Development, lane 5 TBC Racing, hailing from the capital Washington DC, and lane 6 Greenwich B.
Gavin, this is as much throttle as I have, so we're gonna have trouble keeping up.
And in this Penny C boat, I have a little bio from the coach here. They've been rowing together for that past 4 weeks out of Penn AC, and two of their rowers, Jack and Hayes, in that boat have rowed in the Henley Row Regatta and joined the crew 2 weeks prior to racing this weekend. The rest of those in the boat have been racing together since Independence Day Regatta a couple weeks ago on that home course of the Schuylkill River. That will be your Penn AC B boat, who is also in lane 3, which means they are one of the favors to win this. But again, we have seen multiple upsets in these races, so we will never count those chickens before they hatch. And see, the thing about these big boats, you don't have to worry about steering. You don't have to worry about who's next to you. You should not be looking out the boat in these 8s. You should be looking at the person in front of you, following that stroke seat. There should be no reason for you to try to see where that competition is. That is for the coxswain and the coxswain alone to do. And that is why you have them. They are there for your motivation to be the captain of that boat and to get them across the finish line as fast as possible. See, I just love the eights. They're just machines on the water.
They are. They're fat, and well, and you heard the ref, right? The ref is full throttle, trying to stay with these guys. They're going to all probably be what around right at 6 minutes,
Yep.
right? So, so they are flying down the course.
I mean, they're moving. They are moving, and I'm sure a lot of these guys. I'm not sure each person that's in these boats, but I'm sure a lot of these guys already have committed to a lot of these Ivy Leagues and D1 schools out here. So this is their last hoorah before they move into that collegiate level racing.
Scott, leave your binoculars.
But it's good. It's good practice.
Copy, I copy your thing, Pat.
It looks like we have lane 4 that is leading the pack. Lane 4 is going to be the USR development.
That last race. Yeah, and they had a number,
But don't get it twisted. Each boat is holding on to each other, and this can be any men's youth 8 game at this point. It's a very fast race, so you're pulling harder for a shorter period of time. But so it's the boat next to you. So who's going to pull the hardest for that short period of time? Got to swing together. There are 8 different athletes in these boats, but it has to be a one stroke.
Rates are still pretty high too, right? So kind of mid 30s.
Yep. And that's the thing about 8s. You can get that rate up.
Yep, you sure
it up.
can.
And that's what I love about the 8s. You could just hang and bang and just go. It's just a quick tap.
Yeah, it's fun.
Please drop back. Now.
Love it. Love how these boats are holding on to the USR development camp. And now a lot of times, a lot of people will put that USR as like that all-star boat of the country, but I have seen multiple upsets with these development camps, which means that competition is alive and well in this country, regardless if you're handpicked or not. So there is no.
You can see connection across the second half, right? So
Yeah.
So they're all they're all hanging on and thinking, where do I make my move, right?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, the strategy in these big boats is awesome.
It is, and that's all the coxswains have a huge role into that, and major respect to them. And I can see that Penn AC boat very, very, very. It pops out very much, that yellow tip right there. And they have been always strong when it came to 8s. So it looks like we have Penn AC and 2 USR. There's a HP Camp C, as well as a selection development, and they are coming across. Mind you, there are 3 spots. There are 3 spots, and it looks like there are going to be 4 boats in contention for those 3 spots. Who will take those 3 spots here? We have Penn AC walking on the USR HP Camp, and they are still maintaining contact with the USR selection development. Well done, Penn AC, and they are walking through. Penn AC is walking through that first US boat. Beautifully done, Penn AC. Beautifully done. They are fighting. That 3rd spot is going to be a photo finish. Beautiful racing right here. Wow. And that is why you do not give up. That is why you do not give up and you go. Well done, Penn AC. Well done. Well done.
That was a great race.
Beautiful race.
Yeah, 4 right together.
Love that. Love that. Oh wow. Look at those margins. As you guys are looking at the screen, look how it's down to the millisecond. Like it is so close.
Yeah. That's 6,000 second to third.
Wow. And TBC Racing out of
600s,
Washington, D.C. on the Potomac River. There, again, no bias here, but that is also, again, my battlegrounds. And that river has a mind of its own. So I'm proud that they have come out here and shown and grabbed that last spot but grabbed one of those 6 spots for the finals.
Supposed to be Catherine. I didn't hear her. Catherine and
And we are back starting off with the men's youth 8 semifinal 2 USR HP Camp B and lane 1 USR selection development lane 2 lane 3 Greenwich, lane 4 Penny C, lane 5 USR HP Camp, lane 6 USR HB Camp. So yeah, with a lot of these 8s, I'm loving it. And I must ask, since you've been in the sport for quite some time, I'm assuming you may have some family that is rowing out there. Could you
I
tell me a
do.
little bit about
Yeah,
that?
I do. So my daughter started rowing, and that's what got me interested, right? Because she'd come home and she's like, "Sally's shooting the slide." And I'm like, "What?" Right? So I kind of jumped in a boat as a master, and I was truly terrible. She was a pretty good high school athlete. She actually rowed Division I at BU. And she's still very competitive. She rows for Riverside up in Boston, and she's in their Champ 8. So she is quite an accomplished rowing athlete.
Love that.
She medaled in this particular event a whole bunch, right? So back when it was called clubs,
Yep.
the Club Nats, right? So she's got a drawer full of medals from that.
Nice.
And did really well. Very, very proud of her. So big shout out to Skate, right? So everybody knows who Skate is in the Boston area.
Love that. The Charles River. It's a
yeah,
very beautiful
yeah.
course. Head of the Charles, like, is definitely one of my favorite races, for sure. I mean, the twists and turns, like, everything is down to the T.
Yep. I love it. Yeah, I rode up with her on the Charles this week. So I had an opportunity to go out early in the morning, and it's just beautiful. The Charles is really a unique venue and opportunity. So I love all the bridges, and she's in the bow, so she's just like, a little pressure here, a little pressure there. I'm not having to worry about it. So
Right. No,
really good time.
That is good. And then being on that podium, I've me and my partner last year actually won Head of the Charles. Yes.
Awesome.
And being on that podium feels great.
Fantastic.
And so being able to compete on the Charles River and being able to navigate that, it takes a special someone. Honestly, I say I got lucky. I was bow. I got super lucky because that was the first time I've ever raced the Head of the Charles in a sculling boat.
Oh,
and
you had to take a good line.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know how I did it,
Yeah.
but I did it somehow, some way. But again, it takes a lot of skill to hit those points and those mile markers very precisely.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. It's good to hear.
But yes, shout out to your daughter and wishing her success.
Thank you.
As she goes through college and beyond.
Yeah.
And so we have the 8s now coming through the next half of that race here in that middle 1,000. Approaching that last 500-meter mark. And looks like this semifinal is a lot of U.S. rowing development and selection camps, high performance camps, and all the acronyms and whatnot, all the things U.S. Rowing then came up with over the course of the few years. And this will be and the Penny C boat here again, hailing from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I love one of the coaches actually sent me some bios of some of the people in their boat, and one of the guys in the boat from San Diego, Luke Mischenbach, he said he rows for San Diego Rowing Club, but his first year rowing, but the fun fact is he doesn't like sand. Rowing out of the San Diego Rowing Club, they have a sand entry when they're putting their boats
so
on
they're
the water,
wet launching, so he's got sandy feet all the time, right?
All the time here. And what it looks like, that Penny C boat with Luke looks like they will be in first place right now and holding on to that. Penny C has always had a strong showing in these bigger boats here, especially against other crews such as the U.S. Rowing selection camps. There are only 3 spots, but it looks like 4 boats are in contention for those 3 spots here. and we have Pin AC pushing and holding off. Right next to Pin AC, we have a lane of 3, which will be Greenwich, and then lane 2, which will be USRowing Selection. Very, very close racing here. Very, very close racing here with Pin AC walking away with that one.
That's some good stuff. They took the rate up.
They did. And there's no bias here. Born in Philadelphia, Pin AC, I got to give some love to them.
Yeah, they've looked good in the 8s.
Okay?
And again, you see how close those margins are between that USR Selection and Greenwich, but both of them have secured their spots as well as Pin AC into the final, in the last 3 spots of the men's youth 8. And now we have a dynamic duo back.
Back again.
Back again. Y'all know that voice.
For some PM action. We are out here with the commentary.
Love it.
All the chatting, all the chirping. Maybe not so much chirping. We're team good vibes only here.
Good vibes only.
Yeah.
Good vibes only.
We saved the chirping for Masters Racing, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Masters Racing. Oh, don't let them let me commentate that. Oof. I'm like, I can tell. Where were you? Where were you last night? You look a little tired. But the John, quote unquote, middle name Breezy Obrist is back with me up on the at the finish line here.
Yeah, we out here.
Fellow teammate.
Yep.
Fellow person that runs Potomac Boat Club. The float captain.
Oh yeah, all about that dock. All about that river safety. Super important.
Absolutely.
Always got to always be on top of it.
Oh, don't let them catch you going into that middle of the river, going in opposite side of traffic. That's a no.
Nope. Crossing on the wrong side of bridges.
Wrong. And now we have the men's U17-4 here. This is an event that will see 3 from each semifinal move on, three boats from each semifinal move on to the finals. For the first semifinal, we have lane 1 Whitman, lane 2 Miami, lane 3 Penn AC, lane 4 Vero Beach, lane 5 Royal America Rye, lane 6 DC National. And I love it. I'm loving all of these teams that are just every single semifinal. I mean, Vero Beach, Penn AC, Miami, Royal America Rye, they have been consistently going through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And really great to see Miami with such a strong presence here.
Absolutely.
I feel like it's only the last couple of years that we've seen them really rise through both the juniors and the U23 scene. And there are a lot of really great athletes coming out of the city of Miami, which is really great to see.
And they definitely have some good water rowing all year round. I mean, it gets a little spicy in the summertime, but
kind of like the air is spicy today. It's a little hot. It's a little hot.
I mean, we could breathe a little bit, like we said before. We could breathe a little bit,
right?
But in Miami, with that humidity, it's like
terrible. We think it's bad in the Mid-Atlantic, Philly, DC. I don't think we'd survive in Miami.
No.
So hats off to them for doing it.
Absolutely.
Also, I would be willing to bet that any Florida team here thinks that this is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's drier. It's a little less hot. There's a little bit of a breeze, It's pretty nice.
I like that. I like that assessment of it. And protected water too. I mean, I know Miami, Florida in general, I've trained in Tampa, and their waterway can be a little shaky, a little rocky. And same as Miami Beach Rowing Club, their waterway can be a little rocky as well. So it takes some skill to kind of maneuver that, and you got your pleasure boats on top of that are going in and out. So
and being able to navigate all of that and still do piecework makes you such a good rower, right?
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
we're seeing that. We're
Yeah.
seeing as they are consistently coming through these semifinals and actually making the finals.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah, we have a really fun race developing in front of us. A lot of contact still coming through it looks like getting close to the first 1,000-meter mark.
Absolutely. That's lane 5. We have lane 5 closest to us, lane 4 in the back of lane 5.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so lane 4 being Vero Beach, lane 5 being Row America Rye. Really just consistently good results throughout the day today. Really great to see them here so often.
And Penn AC is holding on to them as well. So it is not an open water situation at this point.
Right. The coaching staff at Penn AC this summer have been doing really great things with their athletes. They've seen a lot of boats go through to semifinals.
Yep.
Just really great to see. It's Will Scully and David Herrick really getting their athletes to stay motivated, become really like cohesive together through the summertime, which, you know, for such a short season is super hard to do.
Right. And Will Scully was up here, two guest speakers before that.
Oh, nice.
We were talking about Penn AC and the success that he's found
Yeah.
with that program on Boathouse Row.
Right.
And I love the boat. I love how you have like the yellow like tip, and then it goes into like the gray. I think that's gray, just based off of the monitor here.
Right. Yeah. They're sharp-looking shells. They're King Rowing shells.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that King Rowing, Wintech Rowing, they like to be a little fancy schmancy.
Right.
But hey, we need a little flair in this sport.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the boat that you've been in before earlier on this river, the Rowing Blazers Wintech boat, right?
We did, and I gave that athlete a special shout out, and I'm just like,
yeah,
treat it well and win with style.
Yeah, I mean, with colors like that, it looks like it just flies.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the drone shot of that is just like, it's just so amazing. I mean, this sport can be so like hype, and so it like it's an art. Like this whole sport, from the rowers to the boat to the oars to the designs of the unis, like it can be a very, very poppin' sport.
Oh yeah.
To be honest with you, I mean, we're so used to like the bland Henley shirts that are just like one color and just bunch of dudes just pulling. Like now we got a little bit of everything, and I'm here for it.
Right.
I am here for it. I'm here for the diversity. I'm here for the inclusion of all these different athletes from all around our country coming to have one goal and accomplish one goal, and that's to walk away with a medal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Just lay it all out on the line like these boys are here, and see if you can keep on advancing through the regatta so that you can get to finals and get that hardware.
Yep, exactly.
You know, the hardware and the clout.
Oh, and the clout.
Because nothing is more important than clout.
Oh, absolutely. Best believe when I am done here and when the finals are done, that hashtag I think is like US. Let me look at that hashtag that USRowing has come up with for this, because I am definitely going to go through those to see the amount of trash talking these student athletes do. Because best believe, hey, parents, if you're watching and you think that your kid just doesn't say anything, no, they're trash talking. Believe it. Believe it.
There's always a little trash talking, always in good fun.
Absolutely. It's healthy,
yeah,
I will say.
You know, a lot of these athletes spend a lot of time racing other people from their own cities. There's such a density of schools in Philadelphia and DC and Boston, amongst others, that they see each other all the time at local races. Floridian schools have a lot of overlap with their state championships being regional and then like the full state championship. So
Right.
you know they see these people all the time.
No, you're absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
And yes, I found that hashtag Youth Summer Nats 2022. I will definitely be looking through those, and I think I just may post like just the banter of Youth Summer Nats, because the junior athletes honestly have the best comebacks.
They truly do.
Against each other. So
yeah,
love it.
Man,
Now,
look at
looks like
Penn AC just holding on to that lead here as they come into the finish line. In the last 100 meters of the race, about 10 strokes left. And then we've got...
What is it? Actually,
oh, no, sorry, that's Row America Rye. Yeah, I
so
stand corrected.
Penn AC is in that third position right now.
Yeah, right
still,
behind Vero Beach.
Which is still going to get them into that final. There we go.
What an incredible sprint from all of those boats.
There we go.
You can
Row
tell some of
America
them
ride.
are really gassed, but really happy that they made it through.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Live on to see another day. Row
Yep.
America Rye, Vero Beach. And followed by Penn AC. Well done.
Yeah, that can't be easy racing out at this time of the day when it's a little past noon, sun's still kind of high in the sky, the heat is at its peak. You've been sitting up at the starting line for a little while and you're just baking.
Yeah, cooking out there. But
yeah.
Again, I mean, everybody's going through that, so it makes it even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
To be
it's
honest
true.
with you.
And really kind of comes down to like how you manage that, right? Right
Yep.
before you race.
Mm-hmm. Staying hydrated, always.
Yeah.
Always staying hydrated.
Hitting those electrolytes.
Yep.
Proper nutrition.
Yep.
Yeah, trying to stay as cool as possible.
Mm-hmm.
There's some teams that are really smart about doing like wearing either cold water-soaked shirts or like ice vests going up to the top
really?
to manage body heat. Yeah.
Interesting. I have
so
not seen that.
the added weight in the boat is almost worth it because your body temperature is low enough that you are more comfortable at the start.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big strategy last year at Summer Nationals,
Really?
and I think some crews are doing it here.
See, I have not seen that. Maybe. I have not seen that. That is interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting. We have the men's U17 fours semifinal 2 here. What we have in lane 1, TBC Racing B, but DC all day. Lane 2, Greenwich. Lane 3, USRHP Camp. Lane 4, Maritime. Lane 5, USRHP Camp. And lane 6, TBC Racing. Uh-oh, looks like TBC Racing is kind of getting their fair share.
Oh,
of the
yeah.
punch.
Yeah, and I think this race is going to be one where we see a little bit of the time trials not necessarily reflecting the crew's aptitude, because we've got both of these TBC racing boats basically coming out of IDR with some really good results, and one of them actually won. And in time trials, they had a little bit of an issue with some of their equipment, so hopefully that's fixed. The coaches have put them on the water with a good boat, good equipment, everything's solid, and they're able to race the race that they want to race.
Right.
Lay it all out on the line, get ahead, and
Right.
get that spot in the final.
And that's important too as well. I mean, you just highlighted something that's extremely important when it comes to the sport, because it's not only the athletes and just them just pushing down the line, but it's also making sure that the equipment is up to par and making sure everything is tight, because last thing you want is to be at the start, you're going in the first 250 and now you have an oar pop out,
right,
or bolts and nuts falling off, and at that point that's it.
Right. Yeah, so we've got in the TBC boat a couple of kids that I coached at St. Albans. In the A boat we have a guy by the name of Marco in stroke seat, then Wes and John Slidell. And in the B boat, the coxswain is also an STA coxswain, Ideen. And in the B boat we've got these two guys, Pierce and their coxswain Hale. And they're all like really great guys. They mesh really well with the other folks that they've got at the TBC program. They've been having a lot of fun all summer long, and their boats are just flying down the river every single time they go to practice at IDR. So
that chemistry is
on
point.
Yeah. And the STA guys are really good about that. They form really close bonds with each other. They have a lot of fun. They like to go fast, and I imagine that they've just like brought that with them to TBC racing over the summer period.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the good part about it, because they know each other. They know what they can and cannot do, and they're bringing that into the summertime, into summer racing at another program, but going together. I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah. You can also see we've got a close-up of the TBC A boat here. They're just long, swinging together, really moving that boat efficiently. It's really great to see. They've got a lot of reach, and then just pressing the legs down and getting it pried past to up to the finish and just letting it rip.
Right.
You love to see it.
You just love to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost mesmerizing. Like, I'm just looking at all of these boats, and I'm just like, it's just hypnotizing me. Just
right.
Like, because it's just so together and so in unison, and you can tell that work has been put in with these athletes and these coaches.
Right. And I mean, honestly, I love the 4. Like, the double is my favorite boat class, to be clear, but the 4 it's a great technical boat class for sweep rowers. You still have a coxswain, but it's only 4 oars. You all have to be in perfect unison. There's really nowhere to hide, kind of similar to the pair.
Yep.
And if somebody starts to back off even a little bit off the pressure, you can feel it and kind of know who it is,
We definitely.
So it gets really challenging, and the set is miserable to get down right. But when you have it, it's so good.
It flies.
Yeah,
It flies.
it truly
flies.
flies.
Never dies.
Yeah.
And so it looks like that may be. We have lane 3 and lane 4 on our screen right now, maybe leading the way here. Lane 3 will be that USR HP camp. Lane 4 is Maritime.
Yeah, Maritime with a lot of really, really great results here.
lot.
There's such a strong program.
Absolutely.
You know, the USRowing high performance programs and the development selection camp, they both have a lot of really great athletes from all over the nation.
Right.
And Maritime has the added benefit of being together for the entire year round.
Yep.
So they've got a lot of time in boats, a lot of time to get to know each other, get to know the rowing stroke together,
Yep.
grow as a team, and really put some absolutely lightning fast athletes down here on the water.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I mean, again, this is where it starts. I mean, a lot of these, not just the USR HP camps, but a lot of these other athletes as well are laying it down, and they are the future of US rowing going in international level.
So truly.
I mean, this is where they're made. I mean, most US rowers on that international circuit have been to a Club Nats, have been to Head of the Charles, have been to these staple races in the
Right.
US in order to take those next steps to move on up to
Right.
the international stage. So.
Yeah, and they're all hungry for victory.
Oh,
every
all
last one of them. And
all
if
of
they
them.
don't get it this year, they'll be back for more
Yep.
next year. You know.
Yep. I will absolutely agree with you on that. And we are coming into the last 250 of the race here with only 3 spots available, 6 boats across.
Yeah, really strong showing from this US Rowing High Performance Camp coming up in lane 3, followed closely by Maritime in second. And I think it's going to be a bit of a fight between Greenwich and TBC Racing. The A boat, they're really kind of, it looks like they're neck and neck from this angle.
Oh, absolutely. They are. That third spot is going to be a fight to the finish.
Hotly contested all the way up to the
TBC
line.
boat,
No room for error from either
There
of
is
those
no room
crews
for
with
error.
the
They need
HP, US Rowing HP camp running away with it cleanly to the final.
followed by Maritime in lane of 4, but who's going to take that third spot?
Yeah, it'll come down to the line. It's really, really close.
And TBC needs to pick it up.
Big push from these guys all the way up to the finish line. Oh, and TBC just grabs it over the Greenwich crew. It was a great, great sprint from both of those crews up to the line. With TBCB bringing up the rear, doing really well, keeping on it, staying connected and pushing through to the finish.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice to secure their spot
Yeah.
in the finals. And that is the last 3 spots for that men's U17 of 4.
Man, what a great race. You
Love
love
it.
to see a race like that in the last 250.
I'm not sure if I like to be in that position, in the last 250, but I like to see it though. Like,
No,
it is very,
the anxiety when you're hurting that much in the last 250 is a lot, right?
it literally, like, you're just like, let go. Have you just ever been in one of those races where you're in the front, but that boat that's right behind you is just not letting go?
Mhm.
You're just like, I mean, you can't screw up.
Right.
Like, there is no settling. You have to go. Like, there.
Right.
There's no room for error.
Right.
Even if you are ahead, like one false stroke, your boat speed is depleted, and that other boat that has been focused in their lane and has been focused in their own lane can walk right through you. Like, it just can happen just like that in a matter of a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we now have the women's U4 coming on down the lane. Semi-final 1, top 2 make it to the final. So again, it is now going to be a fight to the finish because there are only 2 spots but 6 boats. Lane 1 we have TBC Racing. Lane 2 we have Greenwich B. Lane 3 Greenwich C. Lane 4 Ready Set Row. Lane 5 Row West Racing Camp B. Lane 6 USR HP Camp. And again, a strong showing from Greenwich out here, as well as TBC Racing, Ready Set Row. All of these teams have been, again, dominant in these semifinals across the board.
Yeah, Greenwich is very, very consistently one of the fastest sweep crews out here on the water, especially with big boats. You know, you see them at we saw them at Summer Nats last year with a lot of really dominant crews. We're seeing them again this year, as well as at Youth Nats at the end of the springtime. It's really impressive to see, and they have such a name for themselves that, you know, I'm sure they attract athletes from all over the nation to go and row there.
Right. I mean, they have three boats. Obviously, they have an A, B, and C. So, I love it. I love it. Breezy just got a shout out by his athletes out of that TBC men's four that secured that third spot. But now we have the women's four coming on down the lane here in that middle 1,000 piece. And again, that middle 1,000 is just like, bruh.
You got to lean into it, and it's
Bruh.
it's an interesting shift for these athletes who race 1,500 meters during the spring season, right?
Yeah.
It's a totally different game when you're doing 1,500 meters and your middle is 500 versus when you're doing 2K and you've got a body of 1,000 to go through. You know,
It is like, man, I was speaking about this earlier. Like, when I'm in this position, I mean, as you know, as a single sculler and going down going down a 2,000 meter course or even a 1,000 meter course, the thoughts that go in your head as you're in the middle of that piece. Like, for me, I think about steak and eggs, what I'm gonna eat after the race, to not think about the pain that I am going through, or I'll think about anything,
Right.
but
Right.
like, I'm keeping a straight line, mind you.
Right.
I'm still focused, but I'm letting my mind go away from the pain a little
Sure,
bit.
sure. Yeah, and that's, you know, every athlete has a different strategy to approach how they race.
I gotta know yours. What is your?
Oh
what is
my
your
God,
go-to?
I am the little engine that could. I have to constantly be thinking, you can do it. This is easy. This is fine. Your legs hurt. This is good. Just keep on, like, every single stroke.
That's
Little
200
check-ins with technical.
That's 200 plus strokes.
Listen,
that you're saying.
it gets me to the
It'll
line,
be okay.
you know.
It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Imagine saying that 200 times.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do, and it is, so it works, you know. We are manifesting things being okay every single time we start that race.
I love it.
Yeah.
One of the other guest speakers said that they sing to themselves.
Oh,
in
I
the
love
middle.
that.
I love that too.
Yep.
I've actually done the ABCs as
Mm-hmm.
I'm racing. I think I did that at Club Nats back in 2017 when we were
Right.
in the double. I just started singing my ABCs through that middle of that piece because I'm like, yo, this hurts a lot.
Right.
And I feel like we aren't going anywhere.
Right.
Like, it is. Obviously, you know, a double is a slower boat in comparison to the eights.
Right.
And the fours. So it's just like you're pulling harder for a longer period of time.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's oh man, they just go on forever.
It really does.
I think my favorite that I've heard so far is from Christine Cavallo, who I raced in the Beach Sprints quad with last year. She said, you know, when you get into the pain cave and you get deep enough in it, you just need to turn your person brain off and turn your lizard brain on.
Love
and that
that.
lizard brain, like that primal, just like do the thing, get
Just
to the
do it.
line, like
Yeah.
that's kind of what you need sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
especially if you're not bowing, if you're not coxing, like if you can turn
You
your
have
brain
no
off in the middle of the boat,
responsibilities.
just do it and go.
Yep.
You know?
No, I believe in that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
You got to do something. 'Cause
Absolutely.
if you let your mind think, that's when if you let your mind kind of go to the pain, you start to doubt yourself. And as a wise person once told me, doubt has killed more dreams than failure ever has.
Yeah, for
So-
sure, for sure.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
And it looks like the lane 4 may be up ahead, which will be ready, set, row. And it looks like in front of the screen here, closest to the screen here, we have the USR HP camp.
Yeah.
I see the beauty.
Really clean technique out of the USRowing HP camp as we get this close-up of them. They look so clean and long. Also really fun to see a bucket-rigged 4. You don't see that too often, right?
Honestly, didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's but they look like they're just easily moving that boat along. Big push coming in though from
are.
Ready Set Row. They're really making the USRowing HP camp rowers work.
Yeah.
And
they are
it's gonna be a scrap down to the line.
And again, we are here for it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
are
this
here
is the
for
racing
it.
that you love to see,
You
and
love to see it.
especially in these 2 to final races. You know, it's not as broad of a selection out of a 6-lane race as it is in the 3 to final races.
Right.
So you got to be on it and you got to go. There's
That
no
top
room for
two,
error.
man, that top two,
Yeah.
it's brutal. I've been in that position. It is brutal.
Yeah, and the heartbreak from just missing that,
Yeah.
it stings a little bit more, you know.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And they are approaching that 250 where those yellow buoys are turning red. And let me remind you all, red does not mean stop here. It means go.
Go harder, go faster,
Yes, go
just
faster.
dump it all out. It is a reminder that you should be like
Seeing red.
Yeah, seeing red, redlining, like
Yes.
just pedal to the metal and go. I found out actually from one of our quads earlier on that they called what was known as a blackout 10 in the last 10 strokes to go as hard as they can, push as hard as they can, and you know what? If the lights go out when you cross the line, but you get there first, that's what you're going for.
Yep, I love that.
From
I
a
love
medical
that.
standpoint, we can't endorse that, but
Yeah, we cannot. I mean,
Yeah.
my old coach said that I should start to see Jesus in the last piece of the race. So,
well, I think it's safe to say that at least the rowers in the Ready Set Rowboat, you know, they may not see Jesus, but they're going to see that final tomorrow.
oh, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
they're
But that number 2 spot,
yeah, it's.
Breezy, I don't know.
I think it's looking a little tight with Greenwich C coming up.
Oof.
Yeah,
But
they're
look like
pushing.
USR may walk away with that one.
Right, but they made US Rowing work for
They
that.
made him work. They
you
wasn't
know,
gonna walk away with that.
yeah, that's huge.
Ready, set, row with a walk away finish in that semifinal one of the women's U4, followed
Yeah.
by
And a really impressive finish from the
HP camp.
Greenwich C coming up behind them.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, and I'm not sure if they put that as like C because of the placements of like their seat racing or whatnot, but I
Right.
mean for their C boat, quote unquote, to do that well, especially against a USR HP camp,
Yeah.
they got some promising future ahead.
Yeah, and that's huge. They're going to be really happy with that result.
Absolutely,
For sure.
Absolutely, and it looks like they beat the B boat as well. So that whenever they go back,
Bragging rights are theirs, you know.
It's going to be messy.
Yeah.
And now we're on to the women's youth 4 semifinal 2. In lane 1, we have TBC Racing D. Lane 2, TBC Racing B. Lane 3, Penn AC. Lane 4, Greenwich. Lane 5, Penn AC B. And lane 6, Row West Racing Camp. Oh, why? There's a lot of inter-squad comp here.
Oh yeah. It seems like it's Row West Racing and Greenwich against Penn AC and TBC.
Yeah,
You know.
that's literally like,
Yeah.
wow. All right, well.
So lots of bragging rights at
Yeah.
TBC and Penn AC also on the line for this race. You know,
absolutely.
top 2 to final, but amongst those boats,
Like,
they're
who's
gonna
get it?
Yeah, they're gonna be chirping at each other after this race.
Oh, and again, we are here for it.
Right,
I mean,
right.
home is where the heart is. Philly born and raised. At that Boathouse Row will always have a special place, but I also gotta give some respect to TBC as they're on my current battlegrounds.
Yeah.
On the Potomac River.
Our
so
neighbors down
they
the
are-
river a little bit.
They
yeah,
are,
in
so
eyesight from our docks.
They are.
Yep.
We see you. We see you, TBC.
We see you. We hear you. We love you guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, what a great race unfolding. We've got a lot of contact with all these boats.
Yep.
It is early in the race, though, so it's anybody's best guess how it's going to shake out. But we love to see this push coming here from Row West Racing. You know, they're really out here sending a message early, getting an established lead and really trying to, like, establish their position. So the other crews are going to have to work through them.
That dominance.
Yeah.
That is like that first 250. It's like I've seen a couple races where they opened up water and after that first 300, like wide open, and typically that boat that has that much length after that 300 clears, like flies through the finish line with well open water.
Right.
So that's why asserting that dominance can be very important and it can be an intimidation factor.
Right.
'Cause if you're seeing a boat walk away from you and open up water, I mean, even me as a sculler for a number of years, if I'm seeing something like that, it's almost like it's an intimidation factor. It's like, yo, like they literally just left me in the dust and I still got 1,600 meters to go.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and that
Bruh.
you know we were talking about it earlier. It's the difference from between coming from behind and just rowing away from people, right?
Right.
Psychologically, it's much harder for a crew that's starting from behind that may be faster in the second 1,000 to have to catch up.
Right.
Because you've got to reel them in and then pass them instead of just maintain your position.
Maintaining, right.
Right.
And that's the, I mean, again, and that's all about knowing your abilities, and a lot of people can do that. And I would love to be able to do that. I mean, I love the show. I love like the walk. You know, it's fun
Right.
to walk on people. It's not fun to get walked on.
Right. Oh, and big drama in both boats when that happens. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
to do the walking and to get walked on.
Absolutely. And knock on wood, I don't think I've ever been walked on yet. Is either I won or I got blown out.
Right.
Like there was there was no in between. Like
It's very binary.
But we
yeah.
definitely like shout out to my high school team, Philadelphia City Rowing, the community rowing program in Philadelphia. Started out with them, and that varsity four we had with my guys, Michael Palamount and Michael Pellegrini, Uriah Doyle, and Salim Ellis, my boy, my coxswain. That we were known for walking on people.
Yeah.
Like we never had that strong 1,000, but that last 750,
Yeah.
we just cleared.
You were just
people.
finishers,
We
yeah.
just cleared.
Nice.
And that was only our second year rowing, and we had to jump up to varsity.
Right.
And we started our junior year, but once you're a senior, you have to do that varsity level. So we had our 4 and did pretty well.
Right.
And again, we were known for literally walking through people with no remorse.
That's cool.
Whatsoever, and I
Yeah.
just loved it. And we're the underdogs. I mean, PCR is one of those programs that has now been around since 2010, and they haven't been around for as long. And it's one of those programs that thrive off of donations, donated boats. Shout out to Princeton University, who has given boats to PCR, Philadelphia City Rowing, and we used those boats, at least when I was there, to win city championships and to do really well at regionals. And
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't have happened without that. So I
Yeah.
mean, they are already starting off. We were already starting off at that underdog level, but to be able to perform and beat these teams that have been around for 20, 30, multiple decades,
Right.
is just,
if not
amazing.
over a century, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And that's why I'm always like, I love the underdogs. I just love that is me. That is literally my life story
Right.
in a nutshell.
Right. Yeah. Also, really cool about Princeton. I didn't know that fact about them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They're both. We had their blades as well. Like they donated quite a few 8s, and they were pretty nice too.
Right.
I will say they were Vespoli 8s, and I mean we started out with those boats. We took good care of them. We were in a boat yard. We didn't have a boat house. We were trying. I mean, if anybody knows Boathouse Row, where that Cosmic Cafe, where that cafe was, that was our erg room before it was a cafe.
Oh, really?
It was. And so I mean, it was all about grit. We didn't
Yeah.
have what all these clubs and teams that had money. We didn't have that.
Right.
But we had each other. We had that grit. We had that heart, and we showed up like, listen, yeah, these teams have this, and this, but we got each other, and
Right.
we're gonna make this ish happen.
Yeah. Yeah. The similar things are happening out in Oakland, California with USRowing
Yep.
in Oakland. Started off having to walk the boat about a mile down the road to launch, and now they've got their own docks, and they're doing really great things there.
Oh yeah, man. I took your idea and I went to go train her. To remember that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Marjorie.
Yep.
Love her.
Marjorie Sechko.
You are the best lady.
Truly,
Thanks for
she
allowing
is.
us to come over and battle with your athletes over there.
Yeah.
To continue our training.
Loads
we
of
are
fun.
Now in the last 250 of the race, and it looks like we have lane 4 leading the pack. That lane 4 will be ready, set, row. No surprise there. And that will be followed by lane.
Then eyes on the line, please. Quiet in the tower.
Wait, sorry, no.
No, I
Lane
think that's
4.
Greenwich.
Lane 4 will be.
Yeah, that seems to be Greenwich coming down the line.
That was lane 4 here.
And then followed by the
looks like
Tennessee
Tennessee.
A
There we
boat.
go. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Coming up third is the Row West Rowing Camp. really pushing it through the line. And we've got these last 3 boats really working to the line.
Tennessee is not giving up, and I'm
Nope.
not surprised either.
No, it's a fight between Tennessee and TBC, really for bragging rights at that point, but pushing each other all the way to the line and keeping it connected, keeping it clean and long. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
it. See, that's what I get for talking too much. I almost lost track of which race is which. But that's what this is for, commentating, for the banter.
Right, right. And, you know, and the culture and the history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's such a historic sport in this country. You know, we've got so many clubs on the row, so many clubs. We got a couple in Boston, our own club in DC,
right.
are over 125 years old. Our own just had its 150th anniversary a couple years ago.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Lots and lots of history of this sport in the country, really. So it's really important and cool to talk about it, learn about it.
It is.
Yeah.
You're definitely right. And what we have coming down now is the Women's Youth 4 semifinal 3 in lane 1. We have Greenwich D. Lane 2, we have Row America Rye. Lane 3, USRHP Camp B. Lane 4, Row West Racing Camp. Lane 5, Ready Sets Row B. And lane 6, Tennessee C.
Yeah, you know these coaches for all of these teams probably, you know, at the end of the day yesterday were riding on cloud 9 because they had so many of their boats go through.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just looking at who is it? Greenwich has 4 boats in the semifinal alone. You know, that's pretty incredible.
For this specific race. We're not talking the other races.
Right.
So.
You know, and it's hard to say, at least from our perspective, how many of these athletes are racing for a second time. You know, were they in 8s? Are they just in the 4s? And if they're in 8s, you know, hats even further off to them because that's a lot of effort that these athletes have to put in to not just do so well in the 4, but also do well in the 8.
Right. No, you're absolutely right about that one. And it looks like 4 will be leading in way right now.
Yeah, Row West is just running away with it with Greenwich D hot on their heels, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, in lane 1, lane 1 is it looks like is in a pretty decent position to be in second place right here.
Right.
And this is what I mean about that underdog. I mean, lane 1 is one of the slower times from the time trial. But that does not mean that they will be the slower boat in this race.
Right. You know, some crews are objectively just very fast and they row time trial really well, but other crews may not time trial well, and then they show up at semifinals and they just are much better side-by-side racers. They get that motivation from the direct competition next to them.
Yep.
And I think we're seeing a little bit of that in the Greenwich D boat.
And I'm hoping lane 1 can hold on to that.
Yeah, we've got the USRowing High Performance Camp and Row America Rye really trying to hold on to this Greenwich boat and maintain contact with each other. But I think the Greenwich D boat is gonna be making a little bit too much of a push coming out of this first 500 to really let these crews hang on. It looks like they're slowly opening a margin. And may just continue to do that for the rest of the race, trailing behind Row West Racing, who is just setting such an aggressive pace for this race.
I'm loving what I'm seeing right now. Again, I mean, we have lane 4 leading that pack, but lane 1, we haven't seen a lot of lane 1s in contention for those first couple spots, and so we're seeing, like we were talking about before, where this can be any man or woman's game.
Yeah, and it's important not to be too comfortable about either the results from last year or about the results out of the time trial, because last year you had a lot of teams that were building up from the pandemic, so their speed may not have been where they wanted it to be.
Right.
Also, last year's format, for anybody that remembers, was a 9-day summer national championship format, which just wears on you. And Camden was 103 degrees and humid. Sun was out. There's almost no shelter in Camden, so it's a much more challenging place to race. And
that is yucky.
Yeah. So, you know, this year you've got crews who've been training year-round. They've got a full year under their belt together in some cases. In other cases, they rode with their high school programs, and then they've gone to a club team to race in the summertime. But also you get to see some of these crews like really, really shine through if they had a bad time trial. Like there are a couple people on our own team who I talked to yesterday that said, "Oh, my race wasn't my best. Gonna get after it tomorrow," and they showed up and really laid it down on the line today.
And I have to give a shout out to Tony Madigan. I watched him come across the finish line, and I mean he just missed out of that final for the U17
Oh, yeah.
single.
Yeah.
But he fought to the line.
Right.
He fought to the line, and I mean I expect nothing less from Matt Madigan's son, right?
Right, and big props to him because he only just finished 8th grade. You know, he's not yet a freshman in high school.
That is insane.
He's such a young kid with so much of a future in front of him in the sport, and to send a message like that in the semifinal at the national championship is huge.
Love
so
that.
he's got a lot to be proud of with that.
Bleed red. I am loving it.
All day,
I am
baby.
loving it all day, baby. Yeah, boat club.
Yup. Yeah, it's just a great place to be.
It is.
I don't
It
know.
is. It is home.
I got no words, just vibes.
Yeah,
you know?
just vibes. We wake up 5:30 a.m., see each other's faces, and we're like, yep.
Yep.
We just look and say, yep.
Yep. Some people don't even say yep. There's just a
They're just
glance,
like,
and you know that they're speaking with their heart, and you're all in the same place. Yeah,
Barely awake, but that's okay.
That
you know?
4:30 alarm comes way too early some mornings. You know.
I've had a couple close calls running to the dock, trying to catch up with other guys.
Oh, I've seen you.
I've had a couple close calls.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than I like to admit. But.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
So it looks like we are coming into the last 250 of the race here, and it looks like we will have a contention. We will have a battle for 1 and 2 here.
Yeah, Row West still hanging on to that lead, really pushing into the line, but it looks like the second place spot may be up for grabs between Greenwich D and US High Performance Camp B. They both, at least from this angle anyway, we've got the same one as you on the telecast. It looks like it could be pretty even, and it's anybody's best guess in the last sprint.
This sprint is going to be insane. This is going to, I'm telling you, people, look at this race right here. This is what's going to make and break which team knows how to lay it down for the last 200, because right now you have it's tight. Second is going to be tight here.
Big move from the USRowing High Performance Camp. They're really putting the gas on now and emptying the tank. We talked about burning matches earlier on. They are putting that entire match book to flame.
Wow.
Really trying to send it home and establish their spot in the final tomorrow, and they're away with it.
Yeah, they're going to solidify that.
Man, that's an impressive sprint coming out of those ladies.
Nice.
That takes some grit in the last 20 strokes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well done.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, this whole race is not, I mean, there's not a lot of margin in between these boats here. Like, there was no clear dominant crew here.
Right.
Love that. Row West Racing Camp taking away. And USR HP Camp B coming in second to secure that second and last spot in the semifinals for the finals of the Women's U4.
What an incredible race. Great finish. Really dominant start. And that's, you know, that's what we were talking about, is you don't know how it's going to unfold until the very end of the race. It can be anybody's day, and it kind of looked like it was going to be Greenwich B's day, or sorry, Greenwich D, until the very end of that race.
Right. And again, it happens, but that gives you something to work on for the next race, whether they're still continuing other boats or coming up for high school or college even.
Right. Right. Yeah, every race is an opportunity to learn a lesson.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you may not want to learn it. Sometimes those lessons may be too painful, but you can definitely take some bad and good away from every single regatta.
Again, we turn those L's into lessons, not losses.
Yes. And eventually, big fat W's.
Big fat dubs. All day, every day. Yes, if you're listening to this commentation, put your two L's together and it makes a W. I am doing it right now.
You might have to angle them a bit.
Yeah, angle it just a little bit, but yeah, if you're doing it, thank you.
Yeah, if you don't angle them, they're just going to be like a little bit of
like a U,
like a football post, you know, a goal. Yeah.
If I had, you know, like the little paper thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
dude, I haven't played tabletop football in a minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's the least physically exhausting than rowing.
True. All right, we got the next race on the water. It's the men's youth straight 4. They have no coxswain in this race. Semifinal 1, lane 1, South Eugene. Lane 2, US Rowing High Performance Camp B. Lane 3, Bellin Jesuit. Lane 4, Penn AC. Lane 5, Oakland Strokes. Lane 6, US Rowing High Performance Camp A.
Love it.
Yeah, really cool to see some California programs out here.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Oakland Strokes had to come all the way out here. Their trailer had to be driven out here.
That's insane.
That's a long drive.
That is a very long
You know,
drive. It's a
but-
long plane ride. So
yeah.
I know it's a long drive.
Right, but that's another team that's got massive depth. You know, big program, lots of kids. Big draw from the Bay Area on the west side of San Francisco Bay. Maybe it's the north side.
Yep, their boathouse looks very pretty. I actually went up there when I was in Oakland with Marjorie.
Oh, yeah.
Up at Oars, and I took a little trip over there because I know one of the guys that works out their student athletes,
Mhm.
and I mean their boathouse is huge. They have a lot of winning history there. I
Right.
mean, I saw their banners. And
Right.
So they have a pretty decent setup over there.
Right.
And again, it shows
Right.
these semifinals where they have multiple boats in these semifinal races and
Oh,
multiple
yeah.
events.
Yeah, and they're right next door to Mike Taty's California Rowing Club boys, and we know that they've got a lot of speed coming out of California. A
Yep.
bunch of them going to the U.S. national team this year, both in sculling and in sweep, and did a lot of really great work at World Cups at World Cup 2 and also at Henley Royal Regatta. So, you know, they have a lot of inspiration to look at on that estuary every morning as the guys go rowing past, which is great to see.
Right, the big coasty boats.
Mhm.
Those are awesome.
Oh,
I got
yeah.
the footage that I got there of the cutters. That's that what
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
called?
they're cutters, yeah.
And the U.S. Coast Guard cutters in the background while you're in your single is just like sick.
Yeah.
So if you ever visit Oakland, you have to go see that.
Yeah.
Like you have to.
Coast Guard Island right there on the estuary in Alameda, and really just kind of breathtaking to go rowing past these 420-foot ships.
Insane.
Big white hulls, Coast Guard racing stripes down the side. Super cool. Sometimes some coasties ogling at you because they just like to watch the rowers in the morning, you know. It's a little break from work.
Love that. Love it.
Yeah, it's a super cool place to row. Highly recommend it if you ever make it out that way.
For sure.
Yeah. It looks like we got Penn AC really running away with it in this race. They've got a little bit of a lead over Bellin Jesuit. A lot of close contact. You love to see some racing like this, especially since they're coming up close to, if not past, the 1,000-meter mark.
Yes, they are now. Cause they're actually approaching that last 500, probably within 200 meters. So.
Yeah, so it's going to be one of those races where we're waiting to see what happens in the last 500, last 250, because things could shake out in the sprint.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
The other thing, too, is that these crews may not care too much about what their placement is tomorrow as long as they're far enough up on the other crews.
Right.
And just be comfortable enough with their lead into the final to just hold on to those, I believe it's 2 spots, maybe 3. Nope,
two.
it's 3
Oh,
spots.
is it 3? Oh,
Yeah,
never mind.
so, you know, they've got a good position here. They may not even sprint.
Right.
So we'll have to see kind of how their strategy plays out, because maybe they want the preferred lane, maybe they want to have, maybe they don't care, maybe they want to have more energy for tomorrow.
And see, it'll be it. I mean, lanes matter in Philadelphia.
Right.
For the school. Here, maybe not so much.
Right.
So, pick and choose your battles.
Yeah,
wisely.
I mean, you would know. You've had a pretty successful Masters Nationals here.
Oh yeah, no, it was a blast. Masters Rowing is entering. And speaking of Masters Nationals is coming up from August 11th to the 14th in Sarasota, Florida. So there will be many opportunities to keep athletes cool, include air conditioning tents, cooling towels, hydration tablets, and more. And for those masters, we, of course, this is one of the talking points. Bear guarding and athlete wellness area will take place in the first and second floor of the finish tower to enjoy the view from the best seat in the house. And we know there's going to be athletes in there throwing them back and have a race within like an hour from
Of
that.
course.
But that's Masters Rowing for you in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, you jump off the water, you grab a beer when you're done with your last race, maybe for the day, maybe for the regatta, you know. It's just nice to grab a cold one.
Love it. The vibes at Masters Nationals it is something special.
Right.
But we are now coming into the last 250 of the race here, and it looks like there are 3 spots, and it looks like there are maybe 4 boats that are going to be in contention for one of those 3 spots here.
Man, that's
and
really close.
this is actually really close, and this is going to be one to watch. This is going to be one to watch. This is going to be one to watch.
Yeah, so we've got South Eugene in lane 1. We've got Bell and Jesuit, Penn AC, and Oakland Strokes, it seems, in lane 3, 4, and 5. Really fighting down the
and
line
it's
for the
only
top
for
3
one
spots.
This is only for 1 spot.
Yeah.
Where
So
are they going to
one
go?
of these crews will have disappointment. The rest will have victory and be running in for that gold
No.
tomorrow.
And it looks like 5 is trying to walk on 4, but
5
it
is
may
making
not,
a
it may
huge
get edged
push.
out.
Huge push for that 3rd place spot. Wow,
Oh,
wow, wow, wow.
Very, very close racing.
That's a race.
Wow.
That's incredible.
With Bell and Jesuit taking that, and you can see how close that time is.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
between 1st and 3rd, look at that. It's a second. Not even a second.
Right.
Do you see that?
And
this
that's
final is going to be insane.
It's going to be incredible. And these are the kinds of races where, as an athlete, right as you're in the last couple of strokes, you can't help but look over to see where you place.
Yeah.
You know, was that horn for you? Was it not for you? Where did
Right.
you finish? And just that look alone could be the difference between jubilation and heartbreak, right?
Right.
Yeah. So.
And that's why, I mean, it's hard. It's hard not to look, but you just kind of gotta row through it. As hard as that
Truly.
is, that's the only way to maintain that speed through the finish, especially if a race this close. I mean, the millisecond matters.
Right. Yeah. And these races don't have coxswains in it, just like this second semifinal of the men's youth straight 4. With Sammamish Association in lane 1, Sarasota in lane 2, US Rowing Selection Development in lane 3, Penn ACB in lane 4, Row America Rye B in lane 5, and Row America Rye A in lane 6. It's all on that bow person to get you across the line, you know, and if they are gassed, sometimes it's a 2-seat who's really making calls, but if they're gassed, which you know they should be by the end of a race, there's not much you can do aside from push your hardest and hope everybody else is too to get you across that line first. You know, trust your strategy, trust your boatmates.
Right. And I've been impressed with all the coxless events. The coxless crews have been able to maintain their lanes. I mean, there was one collision with a boat, but other than that, I mean, they've been pretty good with that. So I'm definitely very, very impressed.
Oh yeah.
Because definitely, like last week, I raced in that single and hit half of the buoys on the course. Still won.
Right.
But yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough.
No,
and I was
understandable.
just like, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the hardest thing too for a lot of these athletes is they spend most of their rowing career as high school rowers with a coxswain. And so to go from a coxed boat to a boat like a sculling shell with no coxswain, or a pair or a coxless 4, it's really hard because you have to learn not only how to manage yourself in your race, but also how to steer a boat.
Right.
And that's not easy. You and I both know that. That is not easy.
It's not. It's really not.
You get some kids who are really hard on rudders. You get some kids who are really hard on pressure steering. And so being able to finesse that and know how to do it, especially in something like a pair, is almost like the difference between victory and defeat, right?
Right.
If you can manage your boat and be cleaner than the other boats, that's almost a leg up against a lot of these other crews.
Yeah, the straighter the course, the more you can just focus on that power going through. I mean, but the moment you're turning, I mean, by physics, you are slowing the boat down. No matter how much you're turning, you're not going in that perfectly straight line, so the boat is theoretically slowing down.
Right. And then you keep on having to manage your point. You're putting more pressure on one side or the other, or in these boats especially, you know, where you're not holding 2 oars, you've got to tell your the person right in front of you to put on more pressure or ease up. You know, it's a fine balancing act between the bow and the 2-seat to get that boat moving around to right where you need it.
Right.
So it's a testament to some of these winning boats bow people of how good they are, not just as athletes, but also as leaders and drivers of these boats.
Right. And the skill that the bow seat has, or I mean, if there's in these 4's 2-seat as well.
Yeah. Look at how calm and cool these Penn AC athletes are way out in front. You know, they seem so relaxed. They're moving that boat really well. And behind them in lane 5 with the Row America Rye B boat, you see the same thing. You know, they're very technically clean. their catches are so crisp.
Right.
You really love to see that.
Like butter.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Smooth.
slicing that butter.
Smooth.
Yep.
Smooth. With that little V splash.
Yeah.
To make it look pretty.
The coveted V splash.
The coveted V
Yeah.
splash.
Everyone looks for it. You know.
I've been racing since 2010, and I still have not gotten a great picture of an equal V splash between my blades.
Yeah.
Still haven't.
Just hunting
I don't
after
know.
it.
I feel like Row 2K and everybody that does photography, they just want to like see. They just want to capture the ugliness of my rowing. I think that's what it is. I think they have something against me, but it's
That's
okay.
a little rude.
I know. Like how could they do that to me? Like what?
Yeah.
To me?
Yeah. Inconsiderate.
Inconsiderate.
Yeah.
Inconsiderate.
You should write a strongly worded note.
I should. I hope you guys are listening. If you are a Row 2K photographer or any type of photographer, please take better pictures of me.
Just get the V splash. Maurice just wants one picture with a V splash, and he'll be good. You know.
That'll be like the highest point of my career is just getting that nice V splash.
Yeah.
Photo.
Because it's definitely not your rowing. It's definitely the photography.
It's definitely the
photography. Yeah.
Forget the rowing piece. As
Yeah.
long as I look good, that's all that matters.
Yeah, you want to know who's not forgetting this rowing piece is the USRowing Selection Development boat that is hanging on with Penn AC. We got a drone shot just a second ago, and they are like on top of each other.
And see, that's what I love to see. Philly giving it to that HP, the USR HP group.
Yeah, and there's a lot of pride coming out of Penn AC. You know, they've got a lot of history and a lot of fast boats coming out of there. A lot of national team athletes too.
Yeah, for sure.
So they got messages to send every single time they put boats on the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And high expectations.
Coming from Boathouse Row, period.
Yeah.
It is a sight to see.
Yeah.
There's a sense of pride in that.
Also, the big eagles on their uniforms, super
those are
distinguishable.
sick.
Yeah.
Those I like. I love that. I love it.
Some of you walking around the course might have noticed the Penn AC coaches today and their brand new yellow sun shirts, and the athletes too with the big eagles in the front. They're really sharp looking.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, Penn AC giving it some fight coming down the line.
Absolutely.
Kind of maybe a little bit behind the U.S.Rowing High Performance, Selection Development
top
Camp.
Three.
Yeah.
Again, top three. Could they be just holding on to that second spot for the finals to save up that energy?
Yeah.
Now I can tell you, number three though may be a fight to the finish.
Yeah, it looks like 3 and 4 are not content with advancing. They're fighting for that lane. They really want to win this race.
Lane 1 and lane 5 looks like they will be approaching the line
Yeah.
very close together.
Lots of speed coming out of Row America Rye B in lane 5. They're definitely going for that last spot and on to the final.
Take that.
Yep. Man, such a great race.
Again, very close margins, less than a second.
Yeah. It's also cool to see, when one boat goes and the other one doesn't want to let them go.
Yep.
The U.S. Rowing Selection Development Camp boat could have just let Penn AC run away with it, get that middle lane, and been fine with it.
Yep.
But they were not going to let that happen. They responded really well.
Absolutely.
Hats off to those athletes for having that push.
Absolutely.
Because if I'm being honest, I would have just let it go.
Yeah, you know what? I'll see all the finals.
It's hot. I've been out here. This is my maybe up to 4th race. Just take it.
I want my steak and eggs.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'll be fine with lane 3, lane 2, lane 1.
Whatever. I'm in the finals, and it's Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and pretty much all the lanes are pretty even and fair.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. Maurice, what's your favorite rowing course in the United States?
Favorite rowing course?
Yeah.
I would have to say, the Oak Ridge is pretty daggone good.
Yeah?
There's straight shot. It's protected.
Mm-hmm.
It's not much current going down.
Mm-hmm.
You have the dam up there that kind of controls how this river reacts.
Right.
I would have to say here, in comparison to the others. How about you?
Home is where the heart is, and even though I didn't grow up rowing on the Occoquan Reservoir, I gotta say the Occoquan.
Okay, that is nice though. It is.
It isn't as beautifully like mountainously scenic as this place is, and I'm sure Oak Ridge in the fall is gorgeous, because all those leaves changing colors make the rowing experience so much different. But
Absolutely.
I gotta say, the steep hills on the either side of the Occoquan Reservoir, covered in trees that are changing colors in the middle of fall for head of the Occoquan.
Love that.
Oh, chef's kiss, so good.
Love that.
So good.
Love that. There's a lot of greenery around there for sure.
Yeah, and fast programs on that reservoir too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Virginia had a strong showing at the national level this year.
Yeah.
We had Wakefield, we had Wilson. Who else?
Man, I'm drawing a mental blank.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, I know there's more Virginia.
There are
teams
definitely more schools in Virginia. There's so many more
that have put their marks on the on junior rowing.
Yeah. Historically, Yorktown, also in Arlington, Virginia, has had a pretty good program. Yep. Thomas Jefferson High School has usually had pretty good programs. Just a whole mess of them, and Virginia rowing has really exploded too over the past decade.
Yeah.
15 years since I was in high school, I had to think about that for half a second. But no, there are tons of schools, and it's really cool to see that, not just a lot of Fast 8 schools in Virginia, but also a lot of really strong 4 schools, because some of these programs are they're too small for to be a really deep 8 school, but they really have a lot of good 4s programs. So
no, that's for sure.
Yeah,
that is for sure. Okay, so it looks like here we will be going a little out of schedule here. We will be starting actually off with the women's youth 4 quad semifinal 2 instead of the semifinal 1 here.
Yeah, so instead of seeing the semifinal that has Greenwich in lane 1, we're going to see the semifinal that has Sarasota in lane 1.
Correct.
And then the semifinal 1 will be moved to later in the day.
Correct. And that semifinal 1 obviously has Potomac in it, so I think no bias, but
right.
I think
but
we both.
We're gonna board the hype train just a
absolutely.
little bit,
for sure.
Yeah. It's going to gain some momentum.
Here if they bleed red, and they all have to say yes because they all bleed red. So technically, everybody here has bias.
I mean, quite literally, yes. Yeah, bleed red being the signature motto of Potomac Boat Club.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. I think I want to get some binoculars. The next time that I do this, I want to be able to just stand up and just zoom in onto the crews to try to see them from the 1,000, because it is so difficult to see the angles from. The camera folks are doing an awesome job, but you can't get that whole picture.
Right.
You cannot get that whole picture.
Yeah, and it's really incredible to be watching from the shoreline too, because you get, especially in some really tight races, lots of side-by-side racing, and it's with the tight margins and crews going past, especially in Cox boats, you hear the coxswains shouting and trying to drive their crews faster. It's really incredible to see.
Yep, so just to let everybody know, the women's U4 semifinal 1 will be going after the men's U17 quad semifinal 2. It just has been adjusted, so we will be starting off with the women's youth quad semifinal 2. Again, as John Breezy has said, with Sarasota in lane 1, Penn AC and Penn AC B in lane 2. 3 is Sullivan Scullers Composite. Lane 3, 4, Ready Set Row. Lane 5, Maritime. Lane 6, USR HP Camp, and they are off. And I must say, I love the quads.
Yeah,
I really love that boat class. I mean, it is so fast.
Yeah,
it is quick.
Yep,
it is. It's a beautiful boat. It is
right.
a beautiful boat, especially when you get it moving.
Right. And it's, you know, similar to the eights, their sweep rowing analog. You can really just stomp on the catch and really push the boat as hard as you can. In a lot of smaller boats, it takes a little bit more finesse to get that boat moving.
Right.
You can see at like elite level sculling too, they've got a stronger back half instead of that front half kick. But in the quad, it just like the 8, you know, once you get that momentum up, you just keep it moving.
And
It's a
you're
big old
going.
freight
It's
train.
like the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
If anybody knows X-Men, once the Juggernaut starts moving, there is no stopping them.
Not at all. No, it's a ton of momentum, and it's really cool because these boats just fly when you get them up to speed.
Yep. And so we're seeing in this first 200 meters of this piece that lane, I want to say a 5 and 4. Yes, 5 and 4 are leading the way and holding on to each other, going stroke for stroke.
Yeah, still a little contact with what is it, 3 and 2? It looks like, and also lane 6.
Yeah, I mean,
there's
it's
still a
pretty
little bit of
close.
overlap with these other crews. It is pretty early in the race, so we're gonna have to see how it unfolds. But it's nice to see that nobody's completely run off with it because it's gonna make for a much more, competitive middle of the race.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Of it, just a finesse, quick hands, nice body angle over matching.
Yeah, and matching is so critical in these team boats. You know, it's the whole sport is basically founded on being able to match with your teammates, and just the slightest difference, you know, in when your body angle is swinging both on the drive and the recovery, can make or break your boat's rhythm and really kind of throw everything out of control. So it's important to try and stay like light and quick, but also stay so focused every single stroke.
Yeah, and you're seeing that right here. I believe this is the USR HB camp with the drone shot. Pretty sure that's them, but the way that you see how together they are, how they're swinging together, those hands are literally going in the same spot at the same time, and that is what it is all about.
Yeah, we're about 3 minutes into this race. Really just like a pretty dominant performance. It looks like coming out of Ready, Set, Row, I think. Do we have lane 4 or lane 5?
So we have lane 5 in that yellow boat. And it's kind of hard to tell by this angle. I can't really tell that the boat that is further, the white boat right furthest from the screen here, it's kind of hard to determine who that is, but they are all going through the 1,000 meter mark.
Yeah, we're about halfway through, coming up to the area where all of the spectators are, so that cheering is really going to give them an extra burst of speed, and can confirm that with this wide-angle drone shot that it is indeed Ready, Set, Row, running away with the front of this race, really leading out and pulling the other crews behind. Good fight for third place over there on the right-hand side of your screen with lanes 2 and 3, Penn ACB and Sylvan Scullers Composite. You know, they are going to final, but that fight between the two of them may push both of them up into that second place.
Right.
So the crew that's sitting in second, which I believe is Maritime over there on the left-hand side of your screen, they're going to have to hold on to it and hold these boats off as they advance, using each other as a way to push, because there is contact between all three of these crews. Yeah, they're coming pretty close to the the last 500 of the race. There may be another 200 meters off of the last 500. So once they hit that last 5, the game is on. Especially with all that contact, they're really going to have to push and see what happens. These ladies looking really clean, really composed, just really moving that boat, staying nice and shallow with the blades, not doing too much work. You see a couple of some world level scullers and world level teams really like to put their blades in pretty deep, but that takes a lot of work to get out of the water at the finish, and a lot of strength.
Right.
So they're doing really good at doing a little bit less work, staying light, staying clean, pushing their boat along.
I mean, they are literally next to each other, as you can see on this screen right here. I mean, this is pretty hectic here, as each of these athletes can see each other out of their peripherals. These bow seats are very well aware coming into the 1500 that they now have a battle on their hands.
Yeah, and you're going to see these bows looking over at the other boats, seeing where their position is, but they can't forget this US Rowing High Performance Camp boat on their left-hand side. Because this boat, as we've seen with a couple of high performance camp boats, may have a really, really strong sprint. So they're going to have to maintain some awareness both with the boats on their right-hand side, but also making sure that the boats on their left don't get away with it.
Right. Pretty much, they have to bury them in that
right
part of the piece, or I mean,
right.
It's going to come back to bite you.
Right. You know, you don't want to give them any room to make a big sprint in the end. Because that's where hearts are broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but
we've
stories
all been there.
made. Yeah,
we've
yeah.
all been there.
Yeah.
And we are hearing the booms of the spectators as they're coming into that last 250, where they are now in the red.
Yeah, we've got a really tight race going on over there in lane 2 and 3. It looks like the rowers from Maritime really pushed up and away from that pairing over in 2 and 3. So they're sitting comfortably in that second place spot. And looks like they will advance along with Ready, Set, Row. But that fight for the third place and the bragging rights is coming in the last 100 meters of this race.
Yep.
And you know they're going to be pushing for it. Because anything can happen, and you can't stop either. You know, it's entirely possible that any of these boats out in the lead may have an error in the last bit of this race. You got to hold on all the way through the line, because that could be the difference between you advancing or you just kind of.
That's exactly what it is with Ready, Set, Row. But we were going to have a battle for third place, and it looks like they are picking up the rate, and it looks like, wow, very, very, very close.
Yeah.
It looks like. Was that 3 who may have walked away with that?
Yeah, Sylvan Scullers.
That third place spot.
Wow. Wow.
Look at those
incredible.
Margins,
yeah.
Look at those margins between
Not even a second.
Sylvan Scullers Composite and Panacea B. Look how tight that racing was.
Yeah. That's incredible. You know, and it's so hard when you're seeing a crew making a move like that and you're trying to push your body as hard as you can and it's just not responding. It's a testament to Sylvan Scullers, that composite boat's fitness.
Yep.
And it's really, really cool to see athletes being able to pull sprints out like that.
Right, and I just love it. Even though they know the top 2 boats move on to finals, they still fight for that spot.
Right.
They still fight for it.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. This is what the sport is all about.
Truly it is.
You know, there's sportsmanship, and there is that will to fight to the end, regardless of what spot you're in.
Yeah, that grit.
And you don't see that amongst a lot of other sports. You see a lot of people giving up and willy-nilly and whatever. We're getting blown out now. I mean, all of these athletes out here have pushed it to the line, and I've seen it in their faces. So.
Oh yeah, and it's like I've told some of my athletes before that, you know, the mark of a good crew is not just how fast you are, but also how resilient you are.
Yep.
You know, can you crab and get back into it and recover and just go?
Yep.
And not be defeated by a little error or any sort of like faults in your race, in your rowing. That's super important.
No, and I love that. I love that resilience. That's like a really, really, really great word, and it should be in everyone's vocabulary.
Yeah.
And now we have the women's youth quad semifinal 3, where again top 2 make it to the final. Lane 1 we have Gordon, lane 2 Atomic, lane 3 Panacea, lane 4 South Jersey, lane 5 Oak Neck Academy, lane 6 Utah. And we have seen a lot of these crews again in the semifinals, and so this should be a pretty decent race coming on down. And they are in that middle 1,000. Approaching that third 500, that last 500 soon.
Yeah, big shout out to Oak Neck Academy. You know, I don't have any affiliation with them, and I've kind of seen them and Amadeus Rowing Academy on the racing circuit through the years while I've been rowing, but they had a huge day yesterday, especially in the single sculls. They had a lot of athletes, and I can't remember what the race is, but you know, the top 10 was a huge chunk of Oak Neck kids,
Oh, yeah.
and it was peppered with some other athletes.
I honestly might as well just recorded myself saying Oak Neck Academy, because that's how many boats there were, like constantly Oak Neck Academy A, B, C, D, E, F, all
Right.
the way to Z. Like,
Right.
they've been doing an amazing job. Coaches
Yeah.
have been doing an awesome job. So
Yeah, hats
kudos
off to
you
their
all.
coaches, to their athletes for putting in the work and really like learning not just how to row, but also how to finesse something
Yep.
as small as a single scull, which then pays dividends in these bigger team boats.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, come on now. Robbie Manson, Mahi Drysdale, you can throw all these guys in team boats and they'll still wreck it. Like, they'll
Right.
still destroy.
Right.
Emma Twigg, same thing.
Yeah.
All the New Zealanders, shout out to them as well.
Yeah.
Have
My
these
girl
guys.
Emma.
Emma Twigg. Love it.
She's one of my
Love it.
favorite people on the planet.
Nah,
she's
she's
truly a
cool.
great athlete and just so funny, so nice, like
Yeah.
a really genuine person.
Nah, she is. The all season and the New Zealanders, I definitely have a special place in my heart for sure.
Yeah, I make it sound like we're besties. We're not. I should clarify that. But kind of wish we were, you know.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah, she'll be at Beach Sprints this year though. So,
will she?
you know, maybe we can hang out, like get to know each other a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd
she
be-
seems
that'd be
super
nice.
cool.
That'd
Also,
be
it'd be
sick.
fun because some of my boat mates are also parents, as she is. She's still out here crushing it as a mom on the national scene, or
That's
international
insane.
scene, sorry.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I love that though. Love that when you see Olympic athletes have children and still be one of the best athletes in the world.
Right. Right.
Like,
Truly. Yeah.
I have my utmost respect.
Yeah.
And we are going into the last 250 of this race here.
It looks like South Jersey has a really healthy lead out in front.
Ooh, South Jersey, right.
Very comfortably going to get one of those spots into the final for tomorrow. And it looks like it's very likely that we've got Penn AC A coming in that second place spot. They're really trying to maintain contact with South Jersey and close that gap so that they can try and get a decent lane assignment or at least maintain their comfortable spot with these other boats.
And there's only 2 spots available from this race to go to the finals, and it looks like they those 2 spots have been put into play here with these 2 boats that are in front right now.
Yeah, unless something dramatic happens, they punch their tickets to finals tomorrow.
Yep.
And potentially onto that gold medal.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's what we do it for.
Yeah, that hunt for hardware continues.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So lane 4 going through first, and then lane 1, or sorry, not lane 1. That is
Yep.
lane 3, Penn AC.
And a big look from lane 5 coming into the finish line over at the rowers from Atomic Rowing.
Love that.
To make sure that she gets her bow out in front first to get the better result coming into this semifinal finish for Heat 3.
Love it.
So just as a reminder, we are running semifinal 1 of the women's quads at the end of the day. We've got 2 more races before that semifinal is run. Next up is going to be the men's U17 quad semifinals 1 and 2 with top 3 to final, and then women's youth quad semifinal 1 to close the day out.
Love it. Love it. Also, as you have seen, a lot of this would not be possible by the USRowing referees, so good shout out to them for helping this be as fair as possible for every athlete we have here today. They do have the best view in the house. They see the races up close, get the opportunity to meet interested people, and again, they keep us safe. So if you are interested in becoming a referee, make sure you stop by the USRowing tent so they can give you some more information and become one.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, a little bit of a personal story. So in high school, my mom was a crew parent. She showed up to races and she got to see about 15 seconds of me racing, and she got really bored. She was like, well, how can I see my child more? She started volunteering a little bit, which helped, but then she became a referee.
Wow.
And she was like, yeah, you know, by that time I was no longer in high school, so there was no like preferential reffing or anything. But the parents who I know who have become referees really like it because they can be out on the water and see their kids row past, and like there's more engagement with the sport.
Right, it's the connection.
Yeah.
Connection.
But the other thing too is a lot of these not a lot, I'm going to correct myself. All of these referees are, they're not being paid by US Rowing to be here, to my knowledge, anyway. So between them and the volunteers, they're really the ones who make this regatta possible. The organizing committee puts in all the work to get us to race day, and the regatta volunteers and the referees really make sure that the racing happens and that it's fair. So be sure to thank a volunteer, thank a referee, send them some love, because they're out here to make sure that this is the best U.S. Rowing National Championship, Summer Youth National Championship possible.
Right.
Or as I like to call it, Ute Flatty Natties.
Ute Flatty Natties.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
a hashtag in front of that.
Flatwater National Championships? No, Flatty Natties. We gotta shorten it, make it fun, make it hype, right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Speaking of fun and hype, we've got this first race about 2 minutes into the start of the men's U17 quad semifinal 1. First coast in lane 1, Row America Rye B in lane 2, Maritime B in lane 3, Maritime A in lane 4, Bell and Jesuit in lane 5, and Gordon in lane 6. And it's a huge lead coming out of the Maritime A boat, with a little bit of contact between the Maritime B boat and the Bell and Jesuit boat, it looks like, in lanes 5 and 3. So going to be really interesting to see how this race unfolds, to see if the Maritime B boat can run away from Bell and Jesuit, or if Bell and Jesuit has a little bit more of a move as they come into the last 1,000 of this race.
Love this. And this is a very strong showing by lane 4 here.
Yeah,
Very
Maritime
commanding.
just constantly with a strong sculling program. So unsurprising to see them up in front, and I know their coaches are going to be really happy with them and proud of what they're doing.
Right.
And it's going to set them into a good position for tomorrow's race, for that gold medal.
And do you know where Maritime's from?
Yeah, they're up in Connecticut.
Okay, nice. Okay.
They're kind of close to New York City, so they're on the southwestern side of Connecticut. I think near Stamford, or maybe in Stamford, Connecticut.
Okay, cool.
But they've got a really solid reputation. They also have, as far as I know, a pretty decent masters rowing program too. So it's cool to see them out here just holding on to their strong rowing tradition and continuing that legacy of really just excellent sculling,
Right.
And prowess in the sport.
I mean, look at that. Those body angle forwards literally at the same time.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of these faster boats, there's a reason why they are out in front.
Yeah, and it's good to see, they don't have too much layback where, you're just pressing your legs all the way down into the boat. You watch those knees drop so quickly.
Look at that. Boom.
And it takes almost no effort to get out of the finish instead of having to really use your abs to do a sit-up almost to get out of the finish.
Right.
They're so light, so quick around the finish, and they just get right up to that next stroke and keep that boat moving.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm liking lane 5's blades. It's like a little tiger.
Oh, yeah, that's super cool.
Rawr.
Yeah. That's it's kind of like in nature when dangerous animals have really bright colors. Same thing
that.
with Bell and Jesuit. They are letting people know that they're
They're
a force to
coming.
be reckoned with,
They are coming
Yeah,
for
love
you.
that. Yeah, really superb sculling coming out of the Maritime boats. Still a little bit of contact with Maritime B and Bell and Jesuit. So we're going to see how this unfolds as they approach the 500-meter mark, and see if anybody makes a move in that last 500 to 250 range, or if they save it all for the sprint.
And honestly, right here, it looks like there is a lot of open water here. So if they have not thought about making a move, they have to now, even before that 500-meter mark, because of how much water is in between these boats.
Yep.
It can happen. Don't get us wrong. It can happen, but that boat has to know that it can happen and has to pick it up.
Yeah, you can see that Bell and Jesuit stroke seat really putting in a lot of effort to get that boat moving, trying to get it ahead of the Maritime B boat. But as a reminder, it is top 3 to final. So these 3 crews, Maritime A, B, and Bell and Jesuit, should be pretty easily getting into the final tomorrow.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but as we've said before and are going to keep on saying, anything can happen in this last 250 meters of the race. As Maritime A enters the red buoys, just kind of flying into the finish.
Commanding lead.
They are
Commanding.
might as well be lying on a sleep number bed. They are so comfortable right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
not physically, because they're burning. Their lungs are on fire. Their legs are screaming.
Absolutely.
they don't have to
plus
worry.
First class.
Yeah.
First class flight courtesy of USRowing.
Yeah, they are taking that international flight to
The finals.
to the finals with the lay flat beds. Yeah.
Well done, Maritime.
What an impressive finish from these guys.
Well done. Now we have second and third, which I will say right here is going to be pretty clear who's going to get second and third, which are promising spots in the final. But they look like they will fight for that second spot. They're not giving up. They're not settling down. They are going for it.
Yep.
And they are going to the line. And I see that bow seat in lane 5 looking over,
Oh, yeah.
seeing where they're at. And now they are picking up the rate.
Oh, big push all the way to the line.
Beautiful.
Tight finish.
Beautiful. And even though all 3 of those spots were guaranteed, they still fought.
Also,
they still fought.
Love this, like the high fives coming out of the Bell and Jesuit guys. Really happy with their finish.
Absolutely.
You know, they knew that they were going to make it through probably by the 1500.
Yep.
But still, like, really congratulatory of each other and happy with how they did.
And look at those margins again.
Oh,
look at how close. Look at that.
yeah, hundredths.
Yes,
hundredths of
of a
seconds.
second.
Yeah, just like.
And I'm not good at math, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you, I am not. But I'm pretty sure that is the 100th place with the TH at the end.
Yeah. And they're going to be happy, Bell and Jesuit, with that second place finish.
Absolutely, because that is motivation into the finals. Like, oh, we beat them.
Right. Also, much better seating coming into tomorrow because they can see more boats in their final and watch what other crews are doing.
Yep, absolutely. And now we are on to the semifinal 2 of the men's U17 quad, top 3 to the finals. Lane 1, Queen City B. That's the first I've heard of this club, but I'm ready to see what they can do. Lane 2, Vero Beach. Lane 3, Miami. Lane 4, Royal America Rye. Lane 5, Maritime C. Lane 6, Sammamish Rowing. Queen City. Want to know? I'm curious where Queen City is from, and I am excited to see how they do on
it looks
this
like
race.
Queen City Rowing Club is out of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Love that. Cincinnati, Ohio, representing here in the semifinals of the U17 quad.
Yeah. Got actually a lot of people from all over the place here. You know, Sammamish is out in the Pacific Northwest. I'm pretty sure in Washington.
It's in Washington, yep.
Yeah, and you got Maritime from Connecticut.
Vero Beach, which is in Florida.
Yep. Miami, also in Florida.
Yep.
You got a team from Ohio represented here. I also don't know where Royal America Rye is from. So.
From America.
Oh, all of America? Yeah.
Yeah, from America.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. But it's super cool to see all of these athletes coming from all over the place to Oak Ridge, Tennessee, the beautiful, lakefront by the mountains, super scenic regatta to throw down for Youth Summer Flatty Natties.
Yep.
Again, for that clout and those medals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Loving it. And
yeah,
from what we see, they are now entering into that last leg of the race here. And
really just great drone shot coming through of these crews coming past. It looks like we have Royal America Rye out in front, really like with a good comfortable open lead, followed by Miami behind them. Both of them likely very comfortable for their spots into the finals tomorrow. Again, it's 3 to advance. So sitting pretty unless something big happens. But if these crews stay calm, stay collected, don't get out of their head, they should be set for tomorrow.
And that is what it's looking like right here. Coming up onto that last 250, it looks like they are still in a commanding lead right now.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, that you got to keep in mind is, some of these crews are really trying to put all of their energy down on the water today. But it could be that with Royal America Rye coming into the finish with such a comfortable lead, they may not put extra speed down at the finish.
Right.
And so their time may not be fully representative of what they can actually do tomorrow.
And that is the scary part.
Right.
That is the scary part.
Especially with these 3 semifinal races with 2 boats through. If a boat is far enough ahead, you may not know how fast that race actually is.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So, study this video because you may get an idea of what they did and what might happen tomorrow if you were in that final.
But again, with the margin this big,
Yeah, Row America Rye and Miami both have it. They are cruising super easily into the finish together for a spot in the final tomorrow. With it looks like Maritime C coming in third behind them with a pretty comfortable open water margin behind the next two boats.
love it.
Really just a master class of rowing coming out of the Row America boat as well as the Miami boat.
It's kicking.
Yeah.
Boom. Keeping that power ratio.
Yeah. Great rhythm coming out of Miami. They look really just so comfortable,
And that will be the two spots that are earned for the finals.
Yeah, as they say at UVA, nothing given, everything earned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, big race coming up
Yep.
over here in lanes
Neck and neck, and this
1
may
and
be a
2.
photo finish coming through the line here with lane 1 and 2.
Let's wait for results here. Vero Beach just clinched it. Man, that's
Again, good racing.
yeah.
there.
At the
Queen
end of the
City,
day, like
good
that,
job.
that's a hard race to do. You've had all this racing going on before you, and you're just you've spent the whole day watching racing. You've spent the whole day either racing yourself or getting ready for this race, and you got those jitters, if you haven't raced yet, and
Oof.
just to have a dogfight like that at the very end is.
And I think this will be will this be the women's quad?
Yeah.
Final one.
Yep.
So this will be the last race of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Lane 1, we have Greenwich. Lane 2, First Coast. Lane 3, Potomac, Blue Red.
Yeah, PBC.
Lane 4, Row America Rye. Lane 5, Litchfield Hills. Lane 6, USR HB Camp.
Yeah, and if I can be so just slightly biased, I want to give a shout out to PBC. We've got Nora Hensley, who's going to BU Lights next year. Gabby Griffin going to Marin, or from Marin, sorry, all the way out in California.
Nice.
We've got Tata Toure, who is going to Northwestern Lights next year, and Kira Moss, who's going to Drexel next year, in that order from bow to stern. So some really incredible athletes who just finished high school this year, taking advantage of USRowing, allowing some athletes who had just graduated from high school this year to race in the used to be U19 category, but this year it is called youth to allow for that.
Right.
So great that they can have one more season as a young athlete before becoming U23 and a collegiate athlete, and they change gears.
So it looks like we have pretty close. There are only 2 spots again for this race here. So
yeah, so it's going to be a bit of a scrap with everybody for those last 2 spots. Yep. Yeah.
Looks like Potomac will sit in second right now, and in first we will have.
It looks like that is Row America Rye in first. Yeah. Really just a commanding start from Row America Rye, and Potomac kind of riding along with them. Row America setting a really fast pace for this, and we saw in that last race that Row America's quad really just kind of established their rhythm early and kind of moved away from the field. So really kind of hoping, all of these boats are hoping that they can maintain contact with this lead boat and hold on to their speed, but execute their own race plan into the finish to get that last spot.
Yeah, that lane, lane 5 looks like they are holding on to Potomac as well.
Yeah, Litchfield Hills, lots of boats that we've seen throughout the day with boats in the semifinals. They clearly did very well in the time trials, which means they've got a lot of depth and a lot of confidence, within their athletes. So they're not going to let this go, especially since they still have contact with Potomac Boat Club over there in lane 3. They are going to fight all the way to the end if they can. And I'm going to knock on wood right now, but I think they're hoping that something's going to happen over in that Potomac boat. But the Potomac ladies are really just starting to reel in Row America Rye. They know what's on the line. They know that they have to be second or first to get that spot in the final. And they are going to do everything that they can to make that happen.
So hold on. Yeah, as you can see, these are the first 3 boats that are coming through. with lane 6 behind those 3 boats that are connected. So this is, I mean, they're crossing over the 1,000-meter mark right now. I mean, we can literally see a fight to the finish when it
Right.
comes to at least the first 3 boats.
Yeah, and we can't discredit the U.S. Rowing High Performance Camp from potentially coming from behind and doing something incredible. You know, we've seen some really awesome sprints coming out of these boats and some very strong middle thousands out of these boats.
Right.
So we've got to expect that anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
But
That
I
is very,
think
very true.
Row America Rye at least has a very solid position out in front. Really, really good rhythm. Really just kind of moving that boat along. You can see Potomac over on the left-hand side of the screen with
They're
the
not
iconic
letting go.
red blades and white stars just holding on and keeping up with that rhythm with Row America.
And I'm loving it. I'm
Yeah,
loving it.
truly. I mean, you love to see it.
You love to see
You
it.
love to see it.
You ever see shooting stars? Well, here you are right now.
Yep.
You have 'em. You have 4 of them on your screen.
Yeah, truly. Some really incredible athletes. Again, really fun to work with them. They're doing everything that they can to keep this push in the middle 1,000 as alive as humanly possible and maintaining that momentum, not letting it dip or drop at all.
And we are approaching the last 500 of the race now, and they need to make a move at this point.
They really do.
Something needs to happen. Something needs to change, because there's only 2 spots, and it looks like there are some boats that are making that move. It looks like Potomac may be disconnecting that cord between them and lane. What lane is that? That's on the other
Litchfield
side of-
Hills over in lane
Yeah.
5. Yeah. Yeah, and you can
They're
see the
trying to
U.S.
pull
Rowing
off.
High Performance Camp coming up through
From behind
Litchfield
them,
Hills.
yeah.
So they've really timed that second half of their race almost to perfection.
Yep.
And if they can maintain that momentum, you can see them coming through Litchfield Hills
At the 1500
in the
right now.
1500. They might have enough speed to carry them through the line in front of Potomac. Those ladies over in lane 3 are really going to have to respond to this encroaching U.S. rowing boat to keep their position, keep it solid.
Yep.
Going to really need to lift that boat up in the last 250. They're about 5 strokes away, with Row America Rye still sitting pretty comfortably out in front.
We have Potomac sitting in a second, it looks like.
Yeah.
And it again, this last 250 is going to be the defining moment between each of these crews.
It's going to be a barn burner of a race here.
Absolutely.
They're going to have to dig real deep to get these boats moving faster than the other crews and really put themselves in a position where they get out in front, they cross that line first.
Yep.
And they got to go until that stroke seat sees the finish buoys passing them. They can't stop right before the buoy. They can't
Absolutely.
assume that
No.
horn is for them.
They have to row through.
I'm not going to lie, Maurice. My heart is in my throat right now.
Mine is too.
It is a very close race. They are all pushing it to the line, and I think it's going to be a bit of a fight for that second place spot and that place in the final.
I wanna say Potomac is going to get that.
I
but
think they have a little bit of an edge, but
They
like I
have a
said
little
before,
edge.
U.S. Rowing High Performance Camp we've seen some big sprints out of them
they
before.
are walking up.
Yeah.
Potomac needs to hold them off.
It looks like a bit of a response coming out of Potomac, but a faster rate in the U.S. Rowing High Performance Camp boat.
Walking up.
Yeah.
Potomac needs to finish.
Oh, Maurice, I
strong.
almost can't watch. But of course I am. Big look over from the
Love
bow
it.
lady over
There
in
we go,
Potomac, making sure that
Way
they're keeping their
to
bow out in
hold
front.
Off USR. Way to go, ladies. Way to go. Bleed red. Yeah, boat club. All day, every day.
Fist
Followed by
bump to my
USR.
co-commentator.
Yes, fist bump.
Yeah. Really great job, too, from Row America Rye with their commanding lead basically from start to finish of that
Yep.
race. And a huge, huge, huge job from U.S. Rowing High Performance to do the Molly
Walk
Reckford
over.
special coming from behind.
Wreck 'em like Molly.
Yep, really pushing these other crews out in front to row as hard as they possibly can across the line, carrying Litchfield Hills with them. A lot of sense of urgency and deep digging to find all that energy they can in the Litchfield Hills boat to get across the line.
Yep. But
Yeah.
Here you have it, folks. This, I believe, concludes racing for the semifinals at the 2022 U.S. Rowing Youth Summer National Championships with my co-host, the John Breezy Reese.
Yeah, also equally brightly dressed, I might add.
Oh,
We're both
yeah,
out here in very bright neon colors from head to toe.
We need USRowing to like record the shenanigans. Well, not just hear our voices, but if you could see us right now, like we are doing the most. And again,
truly.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, how can we not be? You know, we're
we not
literally physically here for it.
Believe the hype at Flatty Natties.
Yeah, always, always. Really
Good
appreciate.
afternoon.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, I really appreciate you guys having me. It's been a lot of fun, and looking forward to a lot of great racing tomorrow.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And we will see you all tomorrow for the finals and the the fight to the finish, the battle for the medals.
Yep.
At U.S. Summer Youth Nationals.